Lamar better than Vic? Yes. I'm taking Lamar Jackson over Michael
Larry
Vick.
Bird never had a bad season.
Jamar Chase is going to have 15 touchdowns.
He may still be the best player in the world. Clear? Okay. Now let's do it. Sports fans, we are live for the third time. Welcome to the Sports Behavior Podcast. I'm your host, OG the Beast. I got two special guests with me, Fantasy Football AZ, and of course, you know OJ knows. Fellas, how y'all rocking?
Doing good, man. Happy to be in the presence of greatness, man. It's going to be light work, man. Thanks for having me. Let's get it.
Hey, Christopher, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to talk some smack with OJ. Me and you haven't debated much, but I'm excited for the show today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm definitely excited for it, man. You guys are guys I watch on TikTok quite often. You know, I love both of you guys' takes, man. OJ with his bias, his Brady love, his Bucks love, his Giants hate. You know what I'm saying? I love it all. You know, Max with his crazy takes and his fantasy football knowledge. Of course, we're going to get into some of that today. You know, I got a couple of guys that you know, I run my league with. We got a real crazy bond, me and my boys. We got a special league. We should start a dynasty league, but we don't. You know, we like to draft every year. But I'm pretty sure Max going to drop some gems, not only for me, but for y'all too as well. But to kick the show off, man, shout out to them loyals over there on YouTube. We growing over there consistently. I appreciate everybody that tunes in every time I drop. Like I say, I try to be as frequent as possible, but you know, life definitely takes its course. And shout out to the loyals over here, man. Diesel, I see you. Lil Chris, I see y'all. I appreciate y'all waiting through, man. Whoa, Jason, with the y'all are muted, you know, letting us know that we need to get our shit together. Definitely. KB, what's popping, man? Appreciate the gifted sub. 8 months, man. I appreciate you. That's my dog. What's popping? A new chatter. Kelly, what is that? Ki? The name is Ki, whatever the case may be, man. I appreciate every single one of y'all, man, and I love y'all. Y'all don't understand. But we got some breaking news in the NFL. As you guys know, we got two football guys here, so most of the show is going to be NFL. You know, we got some breaking news in the NFL. Kareem Hunt wants out of Cleveland. I guess he's got 1 year left on his deal, and he just turned 27 a few days ago, so he's approaching that age in which running backs start to fade. You know, I think, in my opinion, Kareem Hunt has a few elite level years left before he gets to that point to where it's like, oh shit, 30, now it's time for the decline. So he's trying to get paid before that happens. Obviously, it's very obvious what he's trying to do, but the question is, does Kareem Hunt deserve not only a contract extension, but does he deserve to be paid like some of the top running backs in the league? What do you guys think about that? Max, you shoot off.
I think that Kareem Hunt's a really great running back. Like, I think if there was no Nick Chubb in that offense, I think he would be a borderline top 10 running back. It just he doesn't get the touches to be that elite player, but he's so talented. Great receiving back. He can block well. He can run well. He's a great goal line back. I think there's a lot of teams like the Bills, even the Chiefs really need a running back. Like, they would pay him top dollars because he's worth that. But I don't think the Browns need to pay him when you have Nick Chubb there and Dearness Johnson, who was really good last year. So I think there's a lot of like friction there because why would you pay somebody when you have two already really solid backs? So I think he should leave, but they denied his trade request, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe he's stuck.
That's what I'm saying. What about you, OJ? What you think?
I think he's probably the best number 2 running back in the league right now. I mean, I try to think about, who's better than him, right, as a backup. There's really not much that I can think about, right? So with that being said, yeah, he deserves to get paid, but at the end of the day, he doesn't really have any leverage, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does if he sits out, because there's a lot of people that seem to think, maybe some of them are on this panel, that Nick Chubb is the best running back in the league. So let's see what happens when Kareem Hunt, that luxury is gone, and Nick Chubb is going to have to carry the load, right, now that Watson is gone. So we're going to see if he keeps that same energy. He's going to see what it's like to actually be a workhorse like Mr. Derrick Henry.
To be honest with you, I'm going to be honest. I think Kareem Hunt, Max said top 10. I think Kareem Hunt is top 5. If he's on his own team respectively, that's how talented I think Kareem Hunt is and was with Kansas City. I mean, we can't forget he led the league in rushing. You know, he stopped Zeke's streak. I think Zeke had like 2 years in a row of leading the league, and then Kareem Hunt took that away from him. Kareem Hunt is a dog in a pass-heavy offense, led the league in rushing. Like, I don't think people understand how good, and not only good, how efficient he is. So him and Nick Chubb together is a dynamic duo, two of the best I've ever seen on the field at the same time, like maybe top 3 in NFL history as far as talent is concerned. So you like OJ say, losing a guy like that of that caliber, and not only that, but if this guy were to get on a team to where they would feature him and him only, which he's capable of being. By the way, if you could name a team off the top of your head real quick, who would you say has the best shot? Not only to land him if they were to move him, but if they were to let him play this season, he sits, he doesn't play, and then he goes into free agency next season. What you see a good landing spot for him to be?
OJ, you take this one.
I'll go. Honestly, for some reason, without even thinking, the first thing that came to my mind was Raiders. Like if the Raiders could get Kareem Hunt caliber, like Chiefs caliber Kareem Hunt, and obviously he has some familiarity from playing in the AFC West, that will literally put him over the top. Because to me, I think low-key Brandon Jacobs is kind of like sort of more or less the weak link to that team, and I think he'd be a massive upgrade. For whatever reason, that's the first team that I thought about.
For a Giants fan, you mistake Brandon Jacobs for Josh Jacobs. I like
that.
Yeah,
I meant to say Josh Jacobs, which
that's
is
how
sad.
That's how much Giants is on his mind, yo. Max, what about you? What's a good spot for Kareem Hunt?
Well, I think the teams that really need a running back are the Falcons and the Texans. Neither are good landing spots for him though, because they're both horrible teams, right? But they can afford to pay him like really good money, and they can give up like a 4th, 5th round pick and like really not give much. I think that would make sense. I think if he wants to win, he could go to the Rams, Chiefs, or the Bills. But I think what people forget is like how good he is. Like you mentioned, Chris, you said that he might be a top 5 back when he's the only back in the offense. Last year, through the first 5 weeks before he was injured with, I believe, an ankle injury last year, he was averaging 11 carries a game, 60 rushing yards, 5.4 yards per carry. He had a touchdown in every single game. So he had 5 touchdowns in 5 games and 30 receiving yards. So he was averaging 90 yards a game and a touchdown with Nick Chubb in the offense. Like, that's crazy.
That is. Yeah. Way to pull that stat out your ass, man. That needed to be said because I don't think people appreciate how great Kareem Hunt was. But moving on, man, let's get on to the show, man. Y'all know I love my rankings. Y'all know every time I have guests on here, we got to talk about some rankings. Even when it ain't no guests. When it's just me and y'all, we chopping it up. I love rankings. So today we going to discuss top 5 in certain offensive positions, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end in today's game. Not history, not all time. Just speaking of today's game. So we going to work from top to, to the side. So we going to go Max first and then OJ and then I'll go, right? So, fellas, quarterbacks. Max, give me your top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now, starting at 5.
Top 5. At 5, give me Russell Wilson. I think we'll explain this one a little bit later, but Russell Wilson at 5. I got Brady at 4. I got Josh Allen at 3. Aaron Rodgers at 2, and of course, Patrick Mahomes at 1.
What's understood don't need to be explained. OJ, go ahead.
I'm shaking my head because I have the exact top 5 as him. Russell Wilson 5, Tom Brady 4, Josh Allen 3, Aaron Rodgers 4, and then Patrick Mahomes 1.
Wow.
What?
Wow. Look, I thought he was going to be in the anomaly with that. So you got the exact same list as him. That's crazy. Look. Well,
we're going to talk about number 5, though, after, because
we're going to get to that. We're definitely going to get to that. So I guess I'm the one that's finna shake some shit up, right?
Yep.
Look, at 5, I got Joe Burrow. At 4, I got Josh Allen. At 3, I have Tom Brady. At 2, I have Aaron Rodgers. And at 1, I have Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm the one that's shaking up the world right now with my top 5. Look, you said you wanted to talk about 5, OJ. What's up?
Yeah, let's talk about 5. I'm not going to lie to you guys, man. I changed number 5 at least 3 times, bro. Like, in the course. So when we were making this, I've had my list compiled since 3 weeks ago, man. And I keep going back and forth between Wilson, Burrow, and then Matthew Stafford, man. All 3 of these guys, man. I kept seeing, and then lastly, man, I'm like, oh, Russell Wilson. But I'm not mad at Joe Burrow, bro. Everybody knows I'm a Joe Burrow guy. I get so much flack for Joe Burrow being high on TikTok. I'm not even mad that you have Joe Burrow at 5 at all, bro, whatsoever.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I know that people are looking at Joe Burrow at 5, and this is why. Impact is huge to me, right? Especially from a quarterback. People say, oh, stop talking about the it factor. I'm tired of hearing about the it factor. Why? If a player contains something that's irregular, it's uncommon for a player to hoist that it factor. Joe Burrow not only did he lead the league in completion percentage last year, making him the most accurate quarterback in the league. I don't care. That's what that stat signifies. I don't care if it's short passes. I don't care if Jamar did most of the work. This is football. That's what he's supposed to do. This is the ultimate team sport. You need guys to make plays. The quarterback can't throw the ball if it's not snapped to him by the center. The quarterback can't complete a pass if it's not caught by the receiver. This is the ultimate team sport. So I don't care how you get it. I don't care why you get it, as long as you get it, right? And Joe Burrow gets it. We cannot undermine what this man did last year from the quarterback position as the leader of a poverty franchise, a known franchise. Oh, well, they had Jamar Chase and they had Joe Mixon and they had T. Higgins. Well, Carson Palmer had T.J. Houshmandzadeh. He also had Chad Johnson. They also had Rudy Johnson. They had some great talent over there, too, on the defensive side of the ball as well. Why did they not?
Perfect, yeah.
Why did they not make it out of the first round?
And a much better coach, too. A much better coach.
You cannot undermine what this man, Joe Burrow, did last year. Max, you got something to say? Say it. Let me hear it.
That Joe Burrow playoff run is the most Mickey Mouse shit of all time.
Here we go.
And I'll explain why. I'll break it down for you, okay?
Let me hear it.
Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdowns the entire playoffs. Sorry, I think we cut out for a second there. Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdowns the entire playoffs.
I didn't cut out.
Josh Allen threw 5 touchdowns in the only game he played against the Patriots. And then he played against the Chiefs and also had an incredible game. He had 9 touchdowns in the playoffs, right? So it's not even close with those two, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about this Mickey Mouse run playoffs. So we look at game 1 versus the Raiders. You have Whistlegate, where the ref blows a whistle in the back of the end zone, and T. Higgins catches a passing touchdown when the defense stopped playing. So that and by the way, that was a 1-score game. So who knows how that could have turned out? Now, whatever, sure, give him the win, whatever, fine. Then you go into the second game of the playoffs against Tennessee, where Ryan Tannehill threw 3 or 4 picks, played horrible because he's not good, and you only win by 3 points. Joe Burrow doesn't throw a single touchdown in that game. 93 passer rating, carried by Evan McPherson again. Then you go into the Kansas City game where that Bengals defense holds Patrick Mahomes to the worst play by a Chiefs quarterback in the last 20 years in the second half. Alex Smith, everybody included. Worst quarterback play from a Chiefs quarterback. Not Patrick Mahomes, a Chiefs quarterback. He played horrible, okay? And you look at the championship game. That was Joe Burrow's best performance, in my opinion. He played fucking phenomenal there. But I will say this. Evan McPherson scored 48 points in that playoffs. Joe Burrow scored 30. That was the most dominant run by a kicker in playoff history, and he was carried by his defense and his kicker. Now, I will say, Joe Burrow, he's that guy. Like, he is that guy. But saying that, like, he has the it factor, he has more of the it factor than even Justin Herbert is just wrong.
No,
like,
he definitely does.
That's just wrong.
I have one question for you, Max. I just have one question. Take away Justin Herbert from his team. Take away Joe Burrow from his team. Let's compare the Bengals last year and the Chargers. I'm talking about coaching, offensive line, defensive line, receivers, talent, everything. Which is the better team? I want you to honestly sit here and tell me the Bengals are a better team than the Chargers.
Let's break it down. Okay.
Everything.
I think it's important to talk about this. I think you're looking at it. I think you're looking at it wrong because Justin Herbert has the better offensive line. Like, nobody can argue that. But Joe Burrow has better weapons. They probably have an equal in terms of coaching staff. Like, I don't think you guys understand how bad the Chargers head coach was last year. Like, Brandon Staley was awful. He went for 1,000 fourth downs. That man threw away multiple games. Justin Herbert on 4th down last year against the Raiders was one of the best quarterback performances I've ever seen. I think both rosters are good. Like, neither roster is horrible. I think, would you rather have no defense whatsoever and you're always playing from behind and a coach who's an absolute idiot who looks at analytics and goes for every 4th down? Or would you rather have a coach that trusts his quarterback and lets him do whatever he thinks is best with a great receiving core, a great running back, with a bad offensive line and really good defense? I would rather have just a bad offensive line and everything else is good.
I think the biggest case to be made here is that OJ asked the question and all I heard from you was how close it was.
It's close,
right?
yeah. I think it's close.
You see how close it was, but how far the success was?
Because I think having a good defensive kicker is better though than having a good offensive line.
I mean, I'll be honest. So here's my thing.
Close,
so I get
it's not too far apart. That's what I mean. Like, it's very close. I wouldn't be mad if you said, either if you came to me and said, look, I can make a compelling case for why Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Austin Eckler is a better trio than Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon. If you came to me and said that, I would listen to your argument. I would disagree, but I would listen to your argument and be like, okay, that's not bad because those guys are studs. All of them are. So as far as the team talent around them, it's close for both sides. But the success wasn't close. One missed the playoffs. One went to the Super Bowl. And only thing we took out was the quarterbacks. So
but the success of them going to the Super Bowl wasn't because of solely Joe Burrow. And really,
not solely, no, but it's a team game.
Yeah, but he had the least impact. If you look at the main three things, he had the least impact out of the kicker, defense, and him. He had the least impact out of all three of those.
But let me push back on that, Max. Is it fair to say that the impact that a quarterback has cannot always be quantified, right? You can't always say. And here's the thing. Lamar Jackson is the perfect example of that, bro. You'll see a game where he dominates, but if you look at the score sheet, it's like, what did this guy do, bro? You don't even see it, right? So, I mean, we're talking about the ability to go and galvanize an entire team when you're down, bro. Like, things like to inspire, like those things you cannot quantify. You'll never see it on paper, nothing like that. So, like, that's why it's a lot. I'll admit right now, bro, it's so much easier to argue why Herbert is better, especially if you're going to use numbers and things of that nature. You got to look beyond that for Joe Burrow, and I readily admit that, man. But a lot of this stuff can't necessarily be measured and quantified. So
that's true.
I will say this, though. The last thing I'll say on this is Justin Herbert, and for all the Justin Herbert folks, man, like, there's no excuse this year, bro. He has everything, man.
I agree.
So we're gonna see, man. Like,
him and Jalen Hurts.
People have been hyping him a little bit too much, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
but like, why do we think he's not going to play well though? Because he's played so well.
Oh,
2 seasons.
I don't think. It's not about
he'll
that.
play well.
It's not about that. Did he play well last year?
Yeah.
They didn't win shit. That's what I know people say quarterback isn't a wins and losses aren't quarterback stats, but they play a huge factor, a huge determinant factor in whether they win or lose. Let's be honest.
Was it Justin Herbert's fault that Brandon Staley is an idiot and calls a timeout and the Raiders kick a field goal?
No.
But here's the thing, though,
you know what I
Max,
mean?
You gotta think Justin Herbert's super quiet, man. There's something to be said about how you lead a team and the energy that you have and the energy that's carried.
That's part of the it factor.
That's so lazy.
It's not a popular
that's
narrative,
part
bro.
of the
It's
it factor.
I'm telling you, man.
Lazy.
What quiet quarterbacks had success in the NFL? Andrew Luck?
Justin Herbert.
What success has he had?
He has the most passing yards, completions, most through 2 seasons of NFL career, touchdowns.
Just 2, huh?
Yeah, through 2 years.
Max,
he's on pace to be one of the best quarterbacks ever.
They added an extra game. You know that too, right? That's why he threw for over 5,000 yards. So, I mean, that stat is kind of flawed. Other guys had 16 games. He had 17. So, I mean, that's a flawed statement. He's not throwing for 5,000 if they don't add the extra game.
Yeah, if I could just say this too, man, his first 2 years probably the most impressive ever. You could have that argument. I'm not mad about that, but at the same time, I think people are judging him based on just how impressive that start is, and sort of like that's the measurement they're using to gauge. But yeah.
How do you guys like? Here's the thing with like that Justin Herbert like being quiet and not the effective thing. Like I think that's just so lazy though. Like we don't see him in the locker room. All we see is like him being like kind of goofy into himself in front of cameras and reporters and stuff. Like we don't know that he's not like some great leader giving motivational talks in the locker room. And I think honestly, leading by example was more important than being super loud. Like look at Baker Mayfield. He's super loud and out there, but he sucks. Justin Herbert's making every 4th down pass and he leads by example.
Look at Tom Brady. He's super loud and he's the greatest ever. Look at Aaron Rodgers. He's super loud and he's one of the greatest ever. Drew Brees was super loud. Joe Montana. Go look at some clips. Getting in asses. Yeah. Go look at Peyton Manning. Oh, my God. Peyton Manning didn't shut up.
You just name like every top 7 quarterback
of all time. And what do they have in common? They're all loud. They're all rah-rah. And they will all get in your ass. Pause. Justin, name me one all-time great that was quiet. Like, that's not a trait that all-time greats possess. Maybe he can shatter the mold. Maybe he could be the anomaly in the group, right? But most of these guys are rah-rah. Most of these guys, you can't help but to see their leadership. It oozes from their pores. Like,
and that rah-rah is really, it's not rah-rah for the sake of rah-rah. It's rah-rah because, like, bro, I have a standard and you're gonna meet that standard, and if you don't, I'm gonna let you hear about it.
Yes,
that's what that is, bro. It ain't talking just to talk, man. Like it's like Peyton Manning getting on Jeff Saturday a future Hall of Famer, bro, you need to tighten up. I don't care who you're here with.
Exactly.
And then you need to tighten up, you know, like.
Exactly.
But
That's the whole
I don't
point.
know,
You know what I
man.
mean? Like, he lacks that. And that could be the reason why they didn't win 1 or 2 more games last year. And that could be the difference in the whole season for them. They make the playoffs if they win a game that they should have won. Maybe if he would have got in somebody's ass for running the wrong route. Maybe Mike Williams ran the wrong route. And Justin Herbert said, it's okay. And he came back and did the shit again, and it was an incomplete pass on 4th down or 3rd down. That could have been a difference in the game. Maybe that's Tom. You think Tom Brady's going to allow that? No, he's going to let you know on the field, on 3rd. The punt team is running on the field, and he's pointing at the guy that screwed up. You know what I mean? So it's sometimes you got to hold your guys accountable, and that brings a different energy in the locker room. Like, I don't want to screw up today because I don't want Tom Brady to get in my ass for screwing up. This is the GOAT. I can't, that pressure that's placed on certain players to be great sometimes will bring the best out of you, and that could be the difference in a few games last year, won or lost by Justin Herbert, lack thereof. I'm not questioning his leadership. I'm just questioning the way, the design of his leadership. Maybe he displays that now or next year. We'll see. Maybe I haven't seen enough of it, but that seems to be
and you and I might be completely wrong.
That's what I'm
saying. Like after this season, Burrow could stink up the joint, and then Herbert, you see him. At that point, I'm gonna be like, yeah, man, Max was right. I'll be the first one to say it too. That's why I can't wait for this season, bro. It's gonna confirm so many narratives, man. So
Aaron ain't no great leader. Say KB. You're not in the locker room. You got no idea how loud QBs are. Okay, well, I watch the games, man. I see it for myself on the TV. You couldn't help but hear Peyton Manning talk on the field. You couldn't help but hear it. You couldn't help but hear Tom Brady yelling at Julian Edelman to get his ass in his slot. You couldn't help but hear it. That's part of that rah-rah leadership. Justin Herbert might have called a timeout in that situation and went to Edelman like, hey, you were supposed to line up in the Y on that play, so next time, do that. We don't know, but this is just what I'm seeing with my own 2 eyes. So I mean,
Chris, can you guys think of a situation of a time where Joe Burrow was on somebody's ass this year and like screaming at them during a game? I can't.
I mean, he's been mic'd up in the huddles, and I hear the way he talks to his team. They have the ultimate respect for him. Not to say that they don't in not San Diego, but L.A. But I'm just saying, it's more noticeable.
Threw a punch to like a linebacker just this week in training camp, bro. Like that's how he's giving it up, bro.
It's not
like,
for no foolishness, man.
Bro. This happened just this week. I do not see Herbert ever doing that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And something like that, just a small little fight, that could like change the entire like energy of a training camp, man, to where everybody's on, so
don't piss him off, So you don't know that Herbert, whole guy's accountable. You got him mic'd up every game. No, not every game, but go do some research and go look at Joe Burrow mic'd up. And you'll see what I'm talking about. The defense.
I would love if the Chargers were on what do you call it? The HBO show training camp thing. Yeah, Hard Knocks. Yeah. That'd be dope, bro.
All right, let's move on, man. Let's shoot the running backs. We got top 5 running backs going into the 2022 season. Max, who you got starting at 5?
At 5, I got Joe Mixon. At 4, give me Dalvin Cook. At 3, give me Derrick Henry. At 2, give me Nick Chubb. And at 1, give me Jonathan Taylor.
OJ, the floor is yours.
At 5, I have Joe Mixon. At 4, I have Dalvin Cook. 3, give me Nick Chubb. 2, Jonathan Taylor. And then 1, and say it right if you're going to say it, King Derrick Henry.
Facts. For me, at 5, I got Alvin Kamara. I don't know why you guys are sleeping on him, maybe because of the potential suspension midseason, but Alvin Kamara definitely is a top 5 running back in the league to me. At 4, I got Dalvin Cook. At 3, I got Jonathan Taylor. At 2, I have Nick Chubb. At 1, I have King Henry. I mean, everybody was quick to jump on the Jonathan Taylor bandwagon. I'm fine with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think he's a hellacious running back, but to ignore Nick Chubb's efficiency, his downhill running skill, and coupled with his elusiveness as well, the way he can shoot through any gap with his speed and his quickness, man, he's the combination of a dream back. He's like, I ain't going to compare him to nobody because I don't want to kick up no dust. But Nick Chubb has a legit argument to be the best, I think. I just think the way King Henry does things and the way he operates, he's a man amongst boys. Like, I don't even care about his lack of catching. I don't care about the opportunity out of the backfield to catch the ball. I don't give a damn about that. King Henry will not be denied. That's why, to me, he should be the consensus number 1 like in the league right now?
I think the reason I have Jonathan Taylor number 2, I think in my opinion, you guys feel free to disagree. I think the number one most important trait that a running back needs to have is explosion to the hole. And he's probably the most explosive running back to the hole in the NFL. And then when I compare him to Nick Chubb, again, I hate to do this since we're just really cherry picking. It's very close, but Nick Chubb, like having Hunt is a massive luxury, and he arguably has the best offensive line in the league as well. And he's always had a good offensive line since he's entered the league. So when I look at those two things, that's
Chubb,
why
yeah.
I have to give Jonathan Taylor the edge. And as far as Alvin Kamara, man, to me, man, he's borderline sort of on that same category as CMC. If those guys are healthy, and if I use that caveat, when they're healthy, they're arguably two of the best running backs in the league. But I have not seen enough consistency in the health category. That's why he's not in my top 5.
I just disagree, like, so hard with this Derrick Henry BS. I think people see, like, fancy stiff arms and a really big dude running down the middle of the field, and they pause, and they see a dude who just really is scary. Like, he's genuinely scary, right? He's just huge. And that makes us think he's better than he is. You look at Derrick Henry, he had 35% of his production in his 2,000-yard season against divisional opponents because his divisional opponents suck. You have the Texans and the Jaguars in that division where he goes for 200 every single time, right? So it's like, yeah, Jonathan Taylor also has that as well. So we'll get to that in a second. But
That's what I was about
I
to
think
say.
when we're looking at I know that rebuttal. But if we're gonna compare, let's compare Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry first. That makes more sense to everybody. When you look at Nick Chubb compared to Derrick Henry last year had the 12th ranked offensive line of run blocking via PFF. He averaged 4.3 yards per carry. He was not that efficient. Donta Foreman, his backup, also averaged 4.3 yards per carry. In 2019, Nick Chubb had a bottom 3 offensive line in run blocking. Their offensive line was horrible. So OJ, when you said they had always had a good one, that's just wrong. He averaged 5 yards per carry that year. He had 1,500 yards with a horrible offensive line and no offense whatsoever. So I think when you look at
what year?
2019.
Okay.
So when you look at like Nick Chubb in terms of efficiency with a bottom 3 offensive line, he's more efficient than Derrick Henry with a top 12 offensive line. So Derrick Henry, 1, needs a top 5 offensive line to be really efficient like he was in 2020. 2, in terms of Derrick Henry dominating divisional opponents, we can kind of put that to the side. If we look at traits, I think traits do matter because production obviously goes to Derrick Henry for like all these guys over the last 2 seasons. He's produced better than anybody else on a per game basis. But in terms of traits, like pure rusher, who's a better runner between Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry's the worst runner there in terms of vision, shiftiness, like finding a gap, everything to do with the running back. He's the worst one out of those. The only thing Derrick Henry does better is he's just stronger. That's literally it. He's not faster. He's not more explosive.
So
what does he do better?
If that is the case, how is he producing the most with the least amount of talent?
Because he gets the most carries out of anybody in the NFL.
Nah, man. You are just vastly undermining him, man.
Yeah,
like vastly.
I think so too.
Derrick Henry, bro, he's sneaky explosive. He's a lot quicker, not just fast, quicker than people think. He hits that hole hard. And for how big he is, he's very nimble, bro. He shifts very well for how big he is, bro.
He was stiff as hell.
People undermine that.
He was
Listen,
stiff.
bro,
obviously had a foot injury.
No, he was stiff before that,
Max,
though.
These are NFL linebackers, bro. He's not in college. There's no NFL linebacker. Darius Leonard is not sitting here like, oh my gosh, Derrick Henry. Like, I'm scared to tackle him, bro. They want all the smoke.
And
bro.
it's crazy because Derrick Henry, to be as big as he is, it's unconventional for Derrick Henry to be as big as he is and be a straight up runner like him. Most coaches are probably getting his ass and telling him, hey, you should probably drop down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He runs straight up like Priest Holmes did to be 6'3", 250, 40, 50, 60 pounds. I think the look of it is massive. You know what I mean? And it may be enticing to people to say, hey, that's the guy. But it's just the way he single-handedly can carry. Like, and to me, Derrick Henry ain't sneaking up on nobody. I think this is the biggest case. Derrick Henry's not sneaking up on nobody. It's one thing to be an elite running back, but it's also another thing where everybody in the building knows what's coming, and you can't do a damn thing about it. Derrick Henry's one of the few backs in the league where they run the ball in passing situations because that's how confident they are in that running back. Tennessee will run the ball in a obvious passing situation because they're confident. Like last year or the year before last, it might have been his 2000 rush season when I seen this guy run the Wildcat in overtime and just like bulldoze everybody. Like he literally was the reason why they won that game single-handedly. He's the most dominant running back in the league. So yes, we're gonna give him a whole shitload of carries. Is he as efficient as Nick Chubb? No, Kobe wasn't the most efficient either, but he's still an all-time great. And I will put him ahead of a lot of guys that were more efficient than him. Efficiency means a lot, especially from that position, but you could also attribute efficiency to his help that he has, having a Kareem Hunt, not being able to say, you know what, I can take this entire quarter off because I got a guy that can handle, 30 touches a game. If you got what's his name, Devontae Foreman coming in to back up for he's solid, but he ain't all that. He didn't bounce around the league. He ain't no Kareem Hunt. So you got him coming in, and it's like, oh shit, I get probably maybe three plays worth of rest. Let me get my ass back up in here because this team needs me. Versus Nick Chubb can sit out an entire quarter, and they have the same trust and the same feel with Kareem Hunt in the offense as they do with Nick Chubb, and that could be why he's so efficient as well too. Because go look at Kareem Hunt's numbers too, and his level of efficiency as well. So I mean, not to take anything away from Nick Chubb, but he's got a lot more working for him than Derrick Henry does. I'll tell you that right now.
And for the record,
I disagree with that.
Go ahead.
I disagree with that though, because you said that like he doesn't have someone taking off the load, which like obviously Donta Foreman is no Kareem Hunt, but like he had 150 carries almost last year. He averaged 4.3 yards per carry and 150 carries. So like it was not like it was just like a one game sample size of him coming in and he was fresh legs. Like it was over the course of like half a season he averaged the same yards per carry as Derrick Henry. I also think it's important to note too, like you guys are talking about two things that in my opinion shouldn't matter when we're evaluating running backs: stats that are only based on attempts and how like physically dominant they are. Like, yeah, Derrick Henry's the most dominant guy. Sure, like he looks the best. Like I said, like it's a visual thing why people get like this twisted in their head. And based off how many attempts he gets, he has that many yards in production that way. Like last year, for example, right? Like Derrick Henry played 8 games. Nick Chubb played 14 games. Nick Chubb only had 10 more carries than Derrick Henry last year. He played 6 more games. He only had 10 more carries. Nick Chubb had 300 more yards than Derrick Henry on only 10 more carries. Like that has to be noted, right? And
That's
Derrick
the
Henry
efficiency thing.
Yeah, but Derrick
Some
Henry has
guys
an
need to
above average
charge
offensive
up.
line.
Adrian Peterson was like that, but we don't discredit him for that. Adrian Peterson was a 30, 35 carry a night guy, but he wasn't rushing for 1,800 yards every season. I mean, so that's like penalizing Emmitt Smith for rushing for 325, 330 times a season, which is unheard of in today's game. I think the last guy did Derrick Henry have 300 carries the year before last when he rushed for 2,000 yards? I wouldn't put it, but he has to have
380. Yeah, 380.
That's a lot. Nobody's doing that in today's game. So it's like, I understand that, but Emmitt Smith did it too, and people want to penalize him. Oh, he needed a lot of carries. So does Adrian Peterson.
If I could chime in real quick, I strongly disagree with the notion that you shouldn't judge a running back based on his athleticism or physicality. I don't know exactly how you phrase it. But, I mean, Ricky Williams, what do you think of? What do you think about his physical dominance? Marion Barber, you know what I'm saying? Beast mode. There's a bunch. Ronnie Brown for the Dolphins, another Dolphins guy. A lot of these, Adrian Peterson, a lot of these guys, man, the way their bruising style and stuff. Because when Derrick Henry's in the open field and he's one-on-one with a DB, bro, that DB doesn't have a lot of options, bro. I tell you what, but he has a lot more options with Nick Chubb. There's a lot more places you can go with Nick Chubb, bro.
Come on now. Who you think if they put two names on the chalkboard and they say who would you rather tackle, who you think they going with? That's physicality, and that's also he's mind screwing these guys, man.
JT. They ain't catching JT. He's gone.
Think about, bro.
They come into that game saying, look, we gonna have to gang tackle this guy, and when the fourth quarter comes, Henry gets stronger, right? Ain't nobody spelling him. He's in the game, 4 downs. It used to be like, and this is what was crazy about him. This is why I used to not be able to put him as the best running back in the league, because he would get spelled on 3rd down, and because he couldn't catch a cold. He's improved in that aspect of his game every single season after that. You know what I'm saying? You saw the improvement with his hands and his catching ability. And plus, they don't draw things up like that for Henry anyway, to be honest with you. He's no CMC. I'm not saying that. But he's improved. He's not a liability in that area anymore. He used to be a liability to the point to where if they were down in games, he had to sit out. Like, he couldn't be on the field. Like, that's how much of a liability Henry used to be. He's on the field now, and he's the reason that this team is winning. So, I mean, I don't know, man.
Let me just say one last thing about the bruising thing, bro. When it's fourth down, you're winning. You have Derrick Henry, bro. It's gonna take 3 guys to tackle him. And when you tackle Derrick Henry, even if it's a tackle that looks like it's gonna be for a loss or no gain, he's gonna physically muscle his way to gain 3 yards. And when those guys are holding on to him, bro, those are resources you're using, bro. He's wearing down the defense. Jonathan Taylor cannot wear down the defense to the tune that Derrick Henry can, bro. Jonathan Taylor is not dragging 3 linebackers.
Especially
with him,
not November, December, January. When them hands get the freezing.
Jonathan Taylor went for 160-1 and sealed the game against Bill Belichick.
Didn't he have a 90-yard carry in that game?
About how he's doing.
Yes, he sealed the game. He called game.
And all that.
Look, it is what it is, man. We could agree to disagree, but let's move on to wide receivers, man. That was good shit, fellas. I like that. It was good stuff. Let's move on to wide receivers. Max, give me your top 5 wide receivers going into the 2022 season.
You're not gonna like this. I already know you guys are not gonna like this. This one's gonna piss. My tight end one might piss more people off, but this one's gonna really piss people off. I got Tyreek Hill at 5. I got Jamar Chase at 4. I got Cooper Kupp at 3. I got Devontae Adams at 2, and I have Justin Jefferson at 1. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I got a whole case. We'll get into it.
I already know why you have that. But all right, so for me, I got Tyreek Hill at 5, Cooper Kupp at 4, Jamar Chase at 3, JJ at 2, and you already know, man, Devontae Adams at 1.
What's understood don't need to be explained. I don't even think there's a debate for anybody else at this moment. Now, if you're trying to project what may happen, because I do think Devontae will take a step back. Now, if you're trying to project what may happen, that's a difference between based off the evidence provided to us, right? I think here's mine. At 5, I got Tyreek Hill. At 4, I got Justin Jefferson. At 3, I have Jamar Chase. At 2, I have Cooper Kupp. At 1, I have Tay Adams. So you want to talk about shaking up the board? Listen, ever since LSU, I've always felt like Chase is better than Jefferson. And not only am I going off what happened last season, I'm going off skill set. I'm going off projection as well, because I do think these two will be tied to the hip for the rest of their careers. And I think Jamar Chase is in a better situation than Justin Jefferson, right? So not only will he have more opportunities to produce at a high level, but I think he'll maintain that for a long time. Because not only is Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase tied to the hip, Joe Burrow and Chase will be tied to the hip. Best believe that franchise ain't letting either one of those guys go. And they're going to wreck the league for the next 14 years minimum. So I just think I have to be consistent with that argument. I'm kind of back against the wall with it. No matter how great Justin Jefferson is, I think Jamar Chase is better, and I'm standing on that. I thought it since college, so I'm not, and I have no reason to go against that as of right now. Justin Jefferson hasn't proven to me, like, you got him 2 slots ahead of each other. Justin Jefferson hasn't proven enough to me to where I say, he's this much better than Jamar Chase. Like, you have him, like, what you have Jamar Chase at 4 and Justin Jefferson at 1?
I got Jamar Chase at 4 and Justin Jefferson at 1.
That's too far of a distance apart from each other to me, in my opinion. I think I think they neck and neck. I just got one above the other one, and I'm not finna disrespect Cooper Kupp. This man had the Triple Crown and was labeled to me 3 years ago as the most underrated wide receiver in the league. I don't want to say that I predicted this success, but I want to say that I had my eyes on Cooper Kupp, at least for the last 3 or 4 seasons. I'm like, this kid's got something, man. I don't know what it is, but it's something. And the next thing you know, he gets a competent quarterback, and boom, Triple Crown. We got to stop looking at shit and saying, that's cool. It's not cool. Winning the Triple Crown has only been done by 3 other people. Let me make sure. Don Hudson, Jerry Rice, Steve Smith, Sterling Sharp. 4 other people. That's it. You know how many wide receivers have walked through the door in the National Football League? Thousands. That has only been done 4 people. Don Hudson did it like 4 or 5 times. That was too long ago. Back in the 50s and 60s. We ain't got time to be looking over that shit. It wasn't nobody but him playing wide receiver. So we not even go. I'm going to shout his name out because he did the shit. But when we're looking at elite level talents, Sterling Sharp, we know who he was. We know who he was. Jerry Rice, he's the greatest ever. Steve Smith is the greatest under 6 feet or at 6 feet and under. Greatest ever as a low guy, right? You see how many times I got to say greatest ever? Sterling Sharp should be in the Hall of Fame. He's top 10 all time in my opinion. And you got Cooper Kupp in that company that can sit at that table, man, with guys that are legitimate red zone threats in this league today. Although it's more of a passing league today, we get all of that. But we can't sit here. He just won a triple crown. That's it. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Sit on that shit, man.
It's not just that either, because it's also, too, you got to take this in perspective. There's only been 2 players in NFL history to have a triple crown, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl ring, and Offensive Player of the Year. Only 2 players ever to have that in their career. Jerry Rice and Cooper Kupp.
He did it.
Cooper
in the
Kupp did
same
that
season.
in 1 season.
Not only that, bro. Think about the moments Cooper Kupp had, bro. He killed the Bucks, bro. On that, what was it, third down? He killed the Bucks. Like, he had so many moments. I'm not gonna lie, I was not as, and I have to thank Max for this, bro. Like, I was not as high on Cooper Kupp, man. But Max is probably the biggest person to kind of like help me get a little bit around to Cooper Kupp. But bro, the numbers are undeniable. But I do want to address the Justin Jefferson at 1. I think, in my opinion, man, when it comes to football, there's some things that there should be consensus on, bro. Like Devontae Adams at receiver.
That's consensus.
There's some of these things they should not be arguing. Because when I look at Justin Jefferson, if you're telling me that you think he's gonna have a better year projection, but Ojo is asking you that, you're shaking your head. You're saying right now. So to me, when I look at Adams, better route runner, better route tree, greatest release, best release in the NFL, top 3 release all time. Like when you're talking about route running, bro, you got to think about like more Reggie Wayne, Jerry Rice, and Chad Johnson. Those are the guys you compare Devontae Adams to. And then, I mean, his hands are like, I honestly cannot even think of what Justin Jefferson does better.
I'm going to tell you like this. I think Devontae, I'm on record stating this. I think Devontae is so good. He's more of a complete receiver than Randy Moss. If I had a choice, I would take Tay Adams over Randy Moss. That's how good I think Tay Adams. Yes, bro. Can you get him a little wider? If you can, do so. You need some clamps? I'm dead ass. If I saw both of them guys standing right there and they said, pick one, Tom Brady's your quarterback, I'm taking this guy. Give me Tay Adams. I think he's better. Listen, greater and better are 2 different things. I have my reasons for why I say that. Randy Moss took a lot of plays off. He wasn't really a team guy. Didn't want to block. Didn't want to go up the middle. He was just hellacious at one dimension of the game, 9 route. Devontae Adams can run the whole entire route tree and spin around some of the greatest corners to ever play this game. Like, I have the ultimate faith when I say Devontae Adams might be the greatest route runner of all time. Because to me, that was Chad Ochocinco. But he's kind of ruined it for me when I see Chad Ochocinco, the guy I labeled my entire life as the greatest route runner ever, posting videos of Devontae Adams saying, look at this. Y'all need to be looking at this. Watch this. I crying on camera. I thought somebody died. Ochocinco's crying on camera. I just watched Devontae Adams route. Like, what? Bro, you the guy that I attribute that to as the greatest ever at, and you're crying over another guy. Wake up. Let's look at some of this shit and say, hey, like, we should not be Devontae, like he said, 2 things should be consensus. Tay Adams and Patrick Mahomes. Everybody should have those as respectively number 1 on their list. You didn't tweak with Patty Mahomes. I'm happy to see that. But having Justin Jefferson at 1.
And maybe Aaron Donald.
No, maybe. That's a lot. That's
maybe.
a lot. He might be the greatest all time at defensive tackle. Like, so,
yeah.
You know,
I'll give you guys my reasoning though whenever you're ready on the Justin Jefferson take, though.
I'm all ears.
And while you give the reason after that,
Grab my
please tell me
cup.
what he does better than Adams. But go ahead.
So here's my thing with Justin Jefferson over Adams. I think if you look at every trait of a receiver, release, route running, hands, like the main ones, release, route running, hands, I'd say like you give Adams the edge. But like I don't know if it's by much though. Like he's a top 5 route runner. He's got top 5 release. He can run every route tree in the book, every route in the book on the tree. Like he can do anything. He's got great hands. He catches everything. Like he does everything at the same tier of level that Adams does. I'd say the only thing there's like a gap would be maybe release because Adams might have the best release ever. Everything else is close, though. I think when you say, like, yak ability, I'd say I'd give that to Jefferson. I'd say speed, Jefferson. Now, those are minimal traits in terms of a receiver. So that's not where I find my bread and butter with this Jefferson over Adams take. Where I find my bread and butter with this Jefferson over Adams take is I'm looking at Justin Jefferson, who has the most yards, the most receptions, tied most receptions, the most 15-plus yard receptions in NFL history through the first 2 seasons. And he had Kirk Cousins. Now, I love Kirk Cousins. I'm a Kirk Cousins truther. I think he's really solid. But you look at everybody else that we've named in our top 5 and probably in our top 8 if we went down that road. All of those guys have elite quarterbacks. You got Tyreek Hill with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I got Tua who sucks, but that's besides the point. You got Diggs if people have him in the top 5 who has Josh Allen. You got Adams who had Rodgers. You have Jamar Chase who had Joe Burrow. And you got Cooper Kupp who has Matthew Stafford. All those guys are elite quarterbacks. Now, I'm seeing a guy who's produced better than anybody in NFL history through their first 2 seasons. In his first season, he didn't even start for the first 3 games. And he has Kirk Cousins at quarterback. Now, you said this, Chris, and I want to hear your thoughts on this because I think you're contradicting yourself and you have the mindset wrong here. If you think that Devontae Adams is going to take a step down and regress, and you might think that Jefferson could pass him next year, you should think he's better right now. Because Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins are the same tier of quarterback.
I have Justin Jefferson at 4. I don't have him. I have Chase ahead of him. I think by the end of the 2022 season, I'm going to be calling Jamar Chase the best wide receiver in football. That's going to be my take because I think he's going to have a better season than everybody you named, every single one of them.
He definitely could. But back to the Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins thing. If you think Devontae Adams is going to regress and Jefferson's already producing more with similar quarterback play, if not worse quarterback play, with Kirk Cousins to Derek Carr, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to have Devontae Adams over Justin Jefferson when he's been dealing with this and he's had Aaron Rodgers.
That's a different conversation.
I'm not saying he's going to regress because of his quarterback. Why is
he going to regress then?
I'm just saying, not because of. I'm not. Let me rephrase that. Not because of his quarterback, meaning bad quarterback play. Because Derek Carr is a dog.
No. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying that him and Kirk are on the same tier of players, though, and that's what Justin Jefferson's already had. And he's already producing more than Adams.
Okay, but Justin Jefferson is also like 22, 23 years old. Devontae Adams ain't no young bull no more. He's coming to that point of his career to where you either got about 2 or 3 more elite years or you could start this decline now. And I think it's going to start now by him separating from Aaron Rodgers, not because of the quarterback play in its own right, but because I think chemistry outweighs skill in football when it comes from wide receiver to quarterback. Tony Romo and Dez Bryant weren't the most skilled players at their position, but their chemistry was probably the best in the league, bar none. And that's why they were so productive together, right? So would you take Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison over, who are way more skilled guys than both of those guys? Of course. But if I'm looking at it from that standpoint, their chemistry was bar none. And I think that's what it's going to be. He hasn't played with this guy since college. I forget where Fresno?
Yeah, Fresno.
Yeah.
No, I get the argument. Like I think having Jefferson at 2 is like crazy. Like I understand it's crazy. But I think in my head I see a guy who is maybe minimally worse at a couple different things and still top 5 at every single category and has produced more than Devontae Adams with significantly worse quarterback play and the only top 5 receiver with quarterback play that isn't top 10. And I think I don't see any reason why.
Statistically, Kirk Cousins quarterback plays top 10. If you just
right,
look at
100%.
I'm saying like we're not finna disrespect Kirk Cousins like he's
I love
like
Kirk
he
Cousins.
Trevor Lawrence or something who I think is trash. We're not finna do that. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I love Kirk. No, OJ knows this. I've been a Kirk truther for a long time, but he's no Aaron Rodgers. He's no Patrick Mahomes. He's no Josh Allen. He's no Stafford. He's no Burrow.
He's got the worst quarterback on the list by far. And we're not going to sit here and discuss that, you know. But what I'm saying is, for me, maybe for you, like by you saying, I think Devontae Adams going to regress, that maybe you think that Justin Jefferson can leapfrog him as far as next season. But I don't have him there. I have him at 4 because like I say, I have to stand on this. For my own moral I have to stand on Chase over Jefferson. I've been pushing his bandwagon for so long, and I refuse to do what everybody did with Stephon Gilmore and Jalen Ramsey. When he won DPOY and everybody said, oh, Stephon Gilmore's the best corner in the league, and I said, no, he's not. It's Jalen Ramsey. People said, oh, you crazy. I still got the message. I still got the comments. I got all of it. Oh, you tweaking. You stupid. How you going to name another corner to be the best in the game when this guy just won DPOY? I said, I don't give a damn about that Defensive Player of the Year. Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in the game. 3 years later, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? So that's what I mean when I say I have to stand on this for my own moral because I've pushed this bandwagon so hard for so long. I cannot, unless Chase chose me anything other than what he did last year and Justin Jefferson just blows him out of the water, I have to stand on this from my own moral. And that's my reasoning for why I have him where I have him at. And I just told you about Cooper Kupp. That will not be denied. Cooper Kupp deserves that spot.
I genuinely think the top three are interchangeable. I think if you had any of the top three in any order, the top three that I said, which were Adams, Kupp, Jefferson, I think those are all interchangeable. I don't think that Jamar is on that tier of those guys. I think he's a worse route runner. He has worse hands. He has a worse release than all of those guys. All of them.
Worse route runner than Tyreek Hill? No way.
Oh no, then the top three.
Oh,
then Adams, Jefferson, and Kupp.
Well, I got Chase, Kupp, and Adams. Adams is arguably the greatest ever. So yeah.
I just don't think Max, man. I just don't think your argument's convincing, right? Because you're saying, okay, well, this guy is slightly inferior in every way to Adams, but he's yet better somehow. So that argument is not very convincing. And the one thing I'll say is this: you mentioned how his depth of target is a little bit more. You said he led the leagues in like catches for 15 yards or more. Mm-hmm. That has a lot to do with the offense that Minnesota's running versus what they're running over there in Green Bay. And a lot of it is because of Aaron Rodgers, man. Lately, the past couple of years, for whatever reason, he's skeptical to throw the ball deep, man. Like, and people don't know this about Aaron Rodgers, bro. He doesn't like throwing picks. So he doesn't really take as many chances. So that plays a factor into why you'll see that and how those offenses are different. So to me, it's not. And as far as the speed, man, neither of those guys are burners. They're not where they're at because they have some Tyreek Hill level speed or something. So again, it's not a crazy take, but
I hear you.
It's not very convincing. But
I hear you. The stat too. It wasn't yards per reception. It was he has the most receptions over 15 yards through the 2 seasons of an NFL career. He had a higher yards per reception than Adams and Kupp last year. But that's an offensive thing. That's not like you said. It's an offensive thing. It's not like a knock on Adams or Kupp. Like it doesn't really matter. I understand this take is crazy. Like I get it. I totally get it.
It is.
But I stick by it though.
Jay Jetta's at 1. Yeah, that's crazy. Now you could either look like an idiot or you could look like a genius by the end of next year. By the end of next year.
Well, so the conversation we'll have, Chris, though, is we're gonna look at Adams after this next year, and in my opinion, we're gonna see Adams have probably 200 to 300 yards less and the same touchdowns and less receptions than Jefferson. The production is not going to be close, in my opinion, and their quarterbacks are literally 12 and 13 for me, or 13 and 14 for me in terms of quarterback rankings. So they're the same caliber of quarterback, but the production won't be close.
Okay.
So I think that'll say something, right?
True.
But hold on. There's one thing we have to mention, though. The last time Derek Carr had an MVP caliber season, he had Amari Cooper. Are we saying that Amari Cooper is better than Devontae Adams? I'm just throwing that out there, bro.
That's a good question.
Let's not forget that.
That's true.
I'm kind of confused. OJ, what are you trying to get at there? I'm kind of confused.
What I'm trying to get at is when you have an elite level receiver, the only time that he's ever gotten an elite level receiver, Derek Carr, he was an MVP caliber player.
Okay.
And I think
so. He's trying to separate him from Cousins.
Tell him to that.
Okay, so you're trying to say that Carr is much better than Kirk?
No, I'm trying to say that Derek Carr, when equipped with a high caliber receiver, the quality of his play drastically increases as well, and that may be the case this upcoming season with Devontae Adams.
Wouldn't that be more of a case for Kirk to even still have way worse quarterback play? Because with Kirk with an MVP level or a top 5 receiver and Justin Jefferson like high caliber player, he's not an MVP caliber player. But Derek Carr, when he gets an elite receiver, is an MVP caliber player. So
I think the reason why Derek Carr would be an MVP caliber player is because the way they form the offense around him. The offense ain't got shit to do with Kirk Cousins over there in Minnesota. Let's be honest. They want to run the football and throw when necessary, right? And they might run a play action on first down and hit Jay Jettis for a 10-yard curl. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's their offense. You know what I mean? So they run a lot through – the Raiders run a lot through Derek Carr. They depend on Derek Carr way more than they would than Minnesota depends on Kirk Cousins. So I think if you had that type of trust in Kirk Cousins, who fairly takes care of the ball decently. He's not out here just throwing interceptions. So I think if it's situational, it's all play calling, it's all coaches. The talent that they have over there, they want to run the football, they want to get the ball to Justin Jefferson, right? I think they may phase Adam Thielen out of the offense this year, to be honest with you. They want to get the ball, and that may be why Justin Jefferson produces at a high level. He could be the same way I'm talking about Chase. Justin Jefferson can do the same thing next season. He can have the most productive season out of any one of these guys on this list. It's interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think anything less of Justin Jefferson just because I have Jamar Chase ahead of him. Let's just make that clear. I just feel like, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like I have to stand on that. Like,
I think I will say this though. I think there's an over 50% chance that Justin Jefferson gets 2,000 receiving yards next year. 2,000.
Not with Cousins. I don't think
it's not a run first offense anymore, and Dalvin Cook is getting really old. So I think with it's not a run first offense. You got Kevin O'Connell there, who's a mastermind, who's been a mastermind under Sean McVay. Adam Thielen's old as shit. There's no other target there that makes sense at all whatsoever. I think there's a legit shot he could get 2K. Especially in a 17-game season.
I could also argue that if you phase out Thielen, he's going to get a lot more double teams and things like that. But yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's move the hell on. That was some good stuff, man. Great wide receiver debates and conversation. I like that. Look. Look, KV, man, look, log off, man. You get up out of here. He's in my fantasy football league. And what Max just said, he put the open eye emoji and he's writing it down, like taking notes on.
Yeah, no, he's got to take notes.
Nah, man, you get the hell up out of here. You don't need no pointers, man. I got to win the chip this year. But yeah, let's move on to the last category on the list. We got tight ends. This should be easy. The tight end is probably the thinnest position in the league on offense. So, Max, who you got your top 5 tight ends going into the next season?
You guys aren't going to like it. Like, you're not going to like it.
Shit.
I see you with that jersey on. You're not going to like this. You're not going to like this shit. And it's like, I'm
not a fan of them. I'm just a Trey Lance fan.
Oh,
North Dakota State, I love me some Trey Lance.
Okay. All right, at 5, I got Kyle Pitts. At 4, I got Darren Waller. Those two should be consensus. At 3, I got George Kittle. At 2, I got Kelce. At 1, I got Mark Andrews.
You said at 3 you got Kittle. At 2 you got who?
I got 3 Kittle, 2 Travis Kelce, 1 Mark Andrews. I know. I got an argument for it though. Just like I got a really good argument for this. So we'll go through.
OJ, go ahead.
Kyle Pitts with his 1 touchdown. So at 5, I have Darren Waller. At 4, I have Dalton Schultz. Yeah, I'd be sleeping on my boy. At 3, I have Kittle. 2, I have Mark Andrews. And number 1, I have Travis Kelce.
You got Dalton Schultz at 4?
Yeah, Dalton Schultz at 4. Yeah.
Dalton Schultz is solid though. He's
Dalton Schultz better than Kyle Pitts?
he's solid though.
Yeah.
OJ, what are you smoking? I need that.
I'm gonna explain how I formulate my tight end list. I formulated it differently than any other list.
All right, let me go real quick. All right, at 5, I got Kyle Pitts. At 4, I got Darren Waller. At 3, I got George Kittle. At 2, I got Mark Andrews, and at 1, I got Travis Kelce. That should be very conventional.
Can you repeat that again?
Good list. That's a good list.
5, I got Pitts. 4, I got Waller. 3, I got Kittle. 2, I got Andrews. 1, I got Kelce. You know what I mean? It's very conventional. Like if you ask 10 people their top 5 list, it's probably the list they're gonna give out. You know what I mean? Like some might put Pitts over Waller simply because of what can come, next versus what's already happened. So I think that's why a lot of people are high on Kyle Pitts because he's an incredible talent, man. The 1 touchdown, yeah. Trust me, I know. I had him on my fantasy team last year. I was very upset. But he's got a bright future. One of the best prospects we've ever seen from that position in a long time. You know what I mean? So, like, we'll see what happens, though. It's like I say, it's more of a we'll see thing versus the the production that's had. I think he's got the most yards from a tight end in a rookie season ever.
Yep,
so
he does.
That's guys out there ahead of Pitts, bro. I'm not on that Pitts bandwagon at all, bro.
You ain't even got him in the top 5.
I'm just not, bro. And for me,
where's he at then?
So for me,
he gotta be 6.
He's probably like closer to 7 or something. I don't know. I'd have to no, I'm not high on him, bro. I'm not.
Who the hell is over him?
I'm alone in this, but for me, I rate tight ends differently. So here's my argument. I rank tight ends differently more than any other positions because I emphasize production more than anything else in my other positions. Typically with the other guys, running backs, quarterbacks, receivers, I'm looking at production and I'm looking at talent. I'm combining all that. But for me with tight ends, bro, a lot of it for me is production. Bro, if you're talking about talent, to me, Darren Waller, just my opinion, bro. I know most people think it's George Kittle. To me, Darren Waller is probably the most physically gifted tight end in the league, in my opinion, bro. He's Aaron Hernandez 2.0, bro. His hips, he has receiver. He's number. What I have him 5, bro, because it's just he doesn't produce as much. He gets hurt. So yeah, Dalton Schultz, I think he slept on a lot, bro. I don't know if it's because he's a Cowboy. I don't know what it is, but Kyle Pitts, bro, missed me with that one touchdown. Yeah, he's talented and all that.
Bro,
good for you.
Crazy.
I'm not impressed. I don't care. You're very talented, bro. You need to produce more. Give me some tight ends, bro. That's where I'm at with it, bro. And I want all the smoke.
This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. This might be worse. This might be worse than you saying Deebo's not top 10. This is literally the dumbest shit I've ever heard come from you.
So basically, you're saying Kyle Pitts is top 5 because of talent. That's what you're saying.
He produced more than Dalton Schultz in every category besides touchdowns, which obviously wasn't his fault. He had Matt Ryan who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn in the red zone.
And now he's gonna have Mariota. So yeah, maybe he'll have half a touchdown this season with an upgrade at downgrade at quarterback.
Bro, why are touchdowns the only thing that matters though?
It's not the only thing that matters. To me, bro, it's just I don't know. It's just talent. I'm not high on him, bro. It's one of those things, bro. It's like I can't even really quantify. I'm just not high on Kyle Pitts, bro. I've never been. Like I don't know. He's gonna have to convince me, man.
I feel him.
Just not.
Nah, Kyle Pitts literally might be the best receiving threat in the NFL. He's 6'6". He's an elite route runner. He has
best receiving threat.
He might be, bro, because you can't put a DB on him because he's too big, too strong. You put a linebacker on him, he's too fast, too good of a route runner. He catches everything. He had some of the most insane one-handed catches last year. He had Matt Ryan, who's dog shit. Like, there's so many different caliber. He's a different breed of player. Like, he is the most talented tight end by a wide margin. No one is even close to him, and he's a 21-year-old rookie with Matt Ryan in a horrible offensive line with no run game and horrible coaching staff. What is there even to argue against? Dalton Schultz had 800 yards last year with Dak Prescott. The only thing that he's better at is scoring touchdowns because he's in a better offense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Dalton Schultz he's in a better offense. And here's the thing. I'm kind of split. I agree with both of you guys from this standpoint. Because I feel like how do you feel about being in an offense with better weapons surrounding you versus being in an offense where you're the only weapon or you're the only guy that that's desirable enough to consider.
That's exactly what I was
right.
getting at,
So
bro,
that's what I mean.
Like is what it was. So okay, he's in a better offense. What is Dalton Schultz, bro? The 4th option, bro.
Yeah.
Let's count it up, bro.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
What's the name of the other guy? Number 1, the really fast receiver.
I know who you're talking about. He's
Wilson?
not with them this year though.
Yeah,
Cedric Wilson.
Whatever.
Yeah, Cedric Wilson. And they got
Gallup got hurt. Bro.
Michael Gallup too.
Schultz is legit like the 4th or 5th receiving option.
You want to talk about Zeke too and Pollard coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, bro. So if you want to talk about production, bro, Pitts is like 1 or 2 option. Bro.
And who was Pitts' competition for catches last year?
Guys, Kyle Pitts only had 6 more targets than Dalton Schultz. Like, this is invalid.
6 more targets for the whole season?
The whole season, he only had 6 more targets than Dalton Schultz last year.
Opportunity though.
What do you mean opportunity?
How many? Okay, so he
only way better.
Okay, so he only has 6 more.
6 more targets is not telling you the whole picture though. You have to see how many throws Dak had and how many of them went to Dalton Schultz though.
That's what I'm trying
to say.
How many more? So now it becomes about efficiency. How many more snaps did he play in Dalton Schultz?
I don't know. I don't know how many more snaps he played. But
that's opportunity.
6 more targets though.
That's opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, it's I don't know. I just feel like I understand both sides. I'm not mad at it, but not having him in the top 5 to me, I think, even based on what you've seen from him from a skill set standpoint, should at least garner him some type of respect over. Is Dalton Schultz better than him to you, in your opinion, like from a skills perspective? You think he's more skilled than Kyle Pitts?
I don't think he's more talented. And that's why I prefaced my whole statement when I came in and said, I don't necessarily base it on skills and talent as much, right? So with my tight ends, I do it differently. I do it a little bit more in production, whereas everything else was more a combination of skill, talent, and then production. No, Kyle Pitts clears Dalton Schultz in terms of skills and talent, for sure. Like that, there's no argument there. Like
they produce more.
he hasn't produced more. He doesn't have more receptions. He doesn't have more touchdowns. Yeah, like
Okay, OJ or OG, bro. He literally, bro. I can't even fathom this. It's like my brain is like
Yeah.
my brain is like scrambled eggs here.
Can you fathom math? Can you fathom math? Like,
OJ, the reason he had more,
more.
the reason he had more receptions, despite being targeted only 4 times less or 6 times less, is because Dak Prescott's more accurate. Crazy concept.
Oh, so now you want to play the quarterback thing with the accuracy? So
That's
okay,
why, yeah.
okay.
Dalton
So
Schultz caught 75% of his passes. Kyle Pitts only caught 61%. You're telling me that Dalton Schultz is a better catcher, has better hands than Kyle Pitts? No way.
how
He's
many
the quarterback.
touchdowns did Schultz have last year? Like 6 or
He had
7?
8.
He had 8.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he had 8 touchdowns last year. Dalton Schultz had 8
Yeah.
touchdowns.
That's why he was
In
such
that
a good fantasy
offense?
quarterback last year.
Wow.
I know. He was the third option. Really, he was the second option because Amari Cooper was hurt for all last year. So I don't want to hear all
So
that. fourth, fifth
OJ's
option
basically
bullshit.
saying production over skill then, because you can blame the lack of touchdowns from Kyle Pitts from his quarterback because Matt Ryan is terrible in the red zone. Look at Julio. Julio should have way more touchdowns than he does. You know what I mean? And we're not gonna
Or
sit
look
here.
at Calvin Ridley, bro.
this is the problem, bro. Here's the problem. Okay, so let me dive deeper, a little bit deeper, right? When I look at my top 5 tight ends, right? Travis Kelce's number 1 to me. Travis Kelce's not
I don't
not
think it's
more
close.
talented or gifted. He's not more talented or gifted than Kittle, than Waller, or Kyle Pitts. He's not, bro. Travis Kelce, like there's probably at least 6 tight ends, bro, that are more gifted and talented than Travis Kelce. That if we're being physically gifted and talented, if we're being honest, bro.
I think what separates him though,
number 1 to me.
I think IQ separates Kelce from a lot of these guys because he's so much smarter. Like he's probably the smartest tight end in the league. You know what I mean? Like placement, him and Mahomes' chemistry. Not only
he knows the holes in the zones, bro.
right,
Very,
he's
very well.
very smart. Like you rarely catch Travis Kelce not where he's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like he's always gonna be where, like that last play, that overtime play. You know what I mean? That they were ranting and raving about, and how Kelce saw some things that Mahomes didn't see, and he told him, you know, this and that. Like he's just so smart, and I think that's what separates him. And I think that's something that we have to look at too when evaluating tight ends. Not to say that Andrews or Kittle or Pitts or Waller isn't smart too, but I think Kelce's in a league of his own when it comes to IQ from the tight end position, placement, knowing where to be in the right place at the right time all the time. It's never his fault. You know, it's always Mahomes' fault if they're out of sync. It's never his fault. You know what I mean?
Great.
So yeah. So
All right, here, I want to say this. For Dalton Schultz, OJ, Amari Cooper was the second most double team wide receiver in the NFL last year, only behind Devontae Adams. So Schultz is open
Really?
all the time.
that's
Yeah.
That's
gotta
surprising.
be something flawed about that stat. We
No,
gotta be missing
that's
something.
a crazy
Nah,
stat.
We gotta,
I'm looking,
like, bruh.
I'm looking at it right now.
Over Chase?
Yeah, so most double covered wide receivers in the NFL and how often they are open. 10.4% of his routes are double covered, and he is open 53% of the time.
It's gotta be something skewed about that one right there, man. Maybe he didn't meet the
Here's
requirements.
the thing, though, man. Amari Cooper is an exceptional route runner, and a lot of
he's
times,
always
bro, the NFL will more likely like be pressed to double team like a speeds or someone that's blazing vertical threat over
That's
a very good route
crazy.
runner.
They run a lot of 11
Yeah.
personnel over there too in Dallas.
So,
A lot of-
so when you
That's
look
a
at
surprising
so
stat.
when you look at Amari Cooper being the second most, according to this stat, could be wrong, right? I just saw it right now. And
Okay,
ESPN
so it's
land.
wrong. That makes
Sure, could be. I just researched
that
it right
don't
now.
sound right at all.
It
To
sounds right
tell
to
me
me,
guys
it's-
doubled Amari Cooper more than Justin Jefferson last year, as crazy as he was going.
I mean,
like
it could,
and especially
yeah.
with CD Lamb, bro. Like those guys are like
right.
neck and neck. Like
That's
I,
crazy.
bro, if I'm a defender, I might think about doubling CD over Amari just
And
because of
let's,
the over the
for
top.
shits and giggles, if that stat is true, that may make me think about CD Lamb in a different light, because that means he was getting a lot of one-on-one coverage, and that's why he looked like the better wide receiver last year. Now that Amari Cooper's gone, those double teams go his way.
I just linked you it, Chris. If you want to look at it, I sent it to you on Discord. If you want to peep it, but my argument for really why I looked up that stat, I wanted to see how often Mark Andrews was doubled, because I think it's not close with him being the best tight end in football. Here's why I think that. Now you look at George Kittle, he just doesn't have the production over the last 2 years to be in that top 2 conversation anymore, even though he's the most talented and the best blocker. I look at Mark Andrews over the last 3 seasons, equally as good production as Travis Kelce. In an offense with Lamar Jackson, who is not a good thrower of the football. Last year, Lamar Jackson was bottom 5 in on-target throw percentage. He was rarely on target. He was comparable to guys like Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, and Zach Wilson, guys who were horrible in terms of accuracy of throwing the ball, whether it was on target or not. In terms of bad throw percentage, how many of his percentage of his throws are legit bad, like bad throws? He was top 5 in that. Same category as guys like Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, guys who were horrible at throwing the football. And Mark Andrews had one of the best tight end seasons of all time. He's produced incredible over the past couple of years, and he's the second best blocking tight end. The only tight end that's better than him at blocking, according to PFF, is George Kittle. So when you're the second best blocking tight end, you have Lamar Jackson at quarterback, who's not a top 10 thrower of the football, and you produce better than Travis Kelce last year and produced phenomenal over the last 3 years. I don't see an argument for Travis Kelce being better when he has Tyreek Hill open up the field for him all over, and you have Andy Reid calling you plays and Patrick Mahomes throwing you the ball.
So let me speak to that. For all the talk about Tyreek Hill opening up the field for Travis Kelce opens up the field a lot for Tyreek Hill as well, bro.
Two-way street,
and people don't want to talk about that, especially with the seam routes and then just sucking in that entire defense to come in this way, man. So that's that. And number 2, man, like, let's not act like Mark Andrews is not force-fed the ball down there in Baltimore, bro. He is force-fed that ball, bro. Force-fed that. And I'd love to see stats on targets for those 2 guys, man. Because, like, who's his competition, bro? Like, if I'm Lamar Jackson and I'm throwing the ball, who's a better option than Mark Andrews, bro? Like Hollywood Brown?
Mark Andrews
so Mark Andrews is their number 1 weapon, bro.
He had 19 more targets than Travis Kelce last year.
That's a lot.
That's like a game and a half.
It's a game and a half.
Hold on, for a tight end?
Yeah.
How many catches did Mark Andrews have last year?
Mark Andrews had 107, and then Kelce had 92.
They force-fed him. He had 107 catches?
Mark Andrews had 107 catches. Now think about this for a second. He caught 70% of his passes with Lamar Jackson being a bottom 5 accurate quarterback.
So what does that tell you about that bottom 5 accurate quarterback stat? So I guess he's only inaccurate when he's throwing to everybody except Mark Andrews, right?
No. That's not what that means. It means that I think Lamar Jackson was on target for 72.7% of his throws. That was bottom 5 in the NFL. It's not like an exclusive stat. It's like it doesn't include pressure, it doesn't include drops. It's just, are you on target or not?
Okay, but we can only
he's
only catching passes,
lot,
right? He's only catching passes from Lamar. So if you look at his percentage, his catch rate, what was his catch rate in percentages last year? Mark Andrews,
he caught 69.9%, 70%.
70% of his, so he caught 70% and was targeted how many times out of the
153 times.
153.
Yep. I think that's more of a testament to Mark Andrews in his hands and how good he is at catching the ball. I mean, look at that one pass where he was like falling down and he caught that. Yeah, 100%.
And that one 4th down, if that was Kelce or Kittle, he would have caught that. So yeah,
it was a horrible pass. Both of those 4th downs.
If that's
2-point conversions,
they
were horrible passes.
He's catching that.
Bro, he's literally running towards the post, and Lamar.
It's not an ideal pass, bro. Given the JJ Watt blew that up, but hey, bro, I think Kelce's catching that, man.
That was Lamar Jackson 100%. That was not Mark Andrews, and Lamar even came out and said that.
I mean, it's not an ideal pass. Again, JJ Watt blew the whole thing up, but
when the play is to go
JJ, I mean TJ,
like you're running out the goal is not to run a fade there. You're not running to the corner of the end zone, and he threw it that way. It was a horrible pass from Lamar. That doesn't surprise me.
At the end of the day, let's just compare. If you compare Mark Andrews to Kittle, I'll give you the block, and I'll be honest with you, this is not popular. I don't really care about blocking that much from tight ends. I don't. I'm sorry, bro.
I'll
be alone.
If you don't care about blocking them, they're just a receiver. They're just a glorified big, strong receiver. Then
for tight ends, bro. Oh, George Kittle is such a great blocker. Good for you, Kittle. You want a cookie? I'll give me Travis Kelce. My whole point of this, okay, you can have blocking, but guess what? Kelce has better hands. Kelce's smarter. Kelce's a better route runner. And Kelce is just so smooth, bro. He's one of the most fluid. His movements are fluid, bro. Like he reminds me of Tony Gonzalez, bro.
I'm taking Kelce hands over Mark Andrews.
Bro,
I'm taking Kelce's hands over Mark Andrews. I mean, we could argue quarterbacks all we want, but I'm just overall receiver, period. And I'm so happy that as I look at it, I remember people were trying to make a legitimate case for Kittle to be above Kelce, and I that was another one. I said no, give me Travis Kelce all day long. And now Kelce's third on everybody's list. I mean, it's just funny to me. It's
He's
so-
And
second, though.
Kelsey, bro, the way he uses
I mean,
his body,
not
man,
Kelce.
is
Kittle.
just-
Kittle's third on everybody's list. Like it's just so funny to me how.
Because the production is not there. Like blocking matters, but like you got to produce, and he doesn't stay healthy, and it's a combination of a lot of things. Is he the most talented? Probably second behind Pitts, but when you look at Mark Andrews, like he's a top 3 receiving tight end in the NFL. He
I
has
100%
bad quarterback
agree.
play and he has bad quarterback play in terms of accurate passes to him, and he's in an offense that runs
But-
first, and he still produces at the top
But here's
level.
my
and
thing with the
great
Mark
touchdown guy,
Andrews
great
thing, bro.
hands, still a
Mark
good blocker.
Andrews just got here, bro. He had a great season last year. He just got here. Kelsey's
bro.
been doing this.
That's
For
wrong.
me, when I make these lists, bro, there's something to be said about, you know what, man, your reputation. I'm going to give you some credit for consistency and from what I've seen in the past. Mark Andrews, for all intents and purposes, he low-key just got here, bro. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like having that elite season he had last year, Kelsey's been doing this, bro. Like, he's
Bro.
been doing this.
Guys, because Mark Andrews was third in touchdowns in 2019, and last year he had.
His quarterback was the
Hold
MVP
on.
that year too,
That is true. But this year,
and he led the league in touchdowns as well.
Mark Andrews was 10th this year in touchdowns. He was 10th and 3rd in 2019. Like it's not like he's just been doing this. Like Mark Andrews has been really good for a really long time.
Not longer than Kittle and his or not Kittle, Kelce in his production.
Yeah,
Kelce has
no,
like 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
100%.
I don't think no tight end in history has 6,000-yard seasons. Period.
When I say
Period.
he just got
He's
here,
got him in a
what I
row.
mean is that crazy level, like that season. That is a crazy season.
I
for
just
Mark
think
Andrews.
production matters, and Kelce has been the most productive tight end over the past decade. Like nobody's been more productive than him, and it hasn't shied away. Hunter catch 13-yard, Hunter catch 1,200-yard. Like him and Kelce was
A lot of, but OG, a lot of people don't care about that. That's why like they don't have Mike Evans in their top 10. Like
Which
a
is
lot of people, like
ridiculous.
if a player's not sexy enough, they don't care, bro. It's like,
But
So,
guys, how
yeah.
can you say that and say that you care so much about Travis Kelce over the last 6 years, but you're not having D Hop in your top 5? How can you say that, but you don't?
because
have
you
Justin
got to
Jefferson over
update your
Adams?
resume at some point. D
Yeah,
Hop.
and over the last 2 seasons, like, or if you want to go to the last 3 seasons, like Mark Andrews has been better than Travis Kelce though.
But has Kelce?
Negative.
I don't think that's
Negative.
accurate. Not only that,
he's
but has
had one
Kelce's
season better,
production?
and that was last year.
Yeah, has Kelce's production dropped though? Even though Mark Andrews might be playing better sporadically, has Kelce's production dropped? And I think in order to dethrone the captain, his production has to drop. Has Kelce's production dropped? He's been pretty consistent over the past 4 years.
Oh, he's been great, but like you look at Mark Andrews and he's had Lamar Jackson throwing the ball or a backup for half of last season.
Mark
So it's like-
Andrews went from being 3rd in the league in touchdowns to 10th in the league in touchdowns. What did his yards look like? His best season came in 2019 when his quarterback was the MVP.
No, his best season was this year.
So you think his best
this
season was
year.
last year? What did he have?
Yeah, he had 107 receptions for almost 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns. In 2019, though, he was 3rd in touchdowns with only 10, only one more touchdown than this past season. But that was just a weak year for touchdowns by receivers. Kenny Galladay led the league with 11.
He's garbage. I hate Kenny Galladay.
He's dog shit. Yeah.
He is
Speaking
garbage.
of- speaking of Cup,
Travis
too,
Kelce-
Cup was
Travis
second that
Kelce
year.
in 17, 18, and 20 was better than Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews just happened to be better.
17,
This is my
18,
whole
and
thing.
20. Yeah, you're 17, 18 don't matter. We're talking about 19, 20,
But
and
but,
last
but
year.
here's my biggest thing, though. Here's my biggest thing. If you are the king, you're number 1, and you're gonna tell me someone's gonna take that spot, bro, it has to be convincing to me. That's my thing. It's not convincing. So the whole Derrick Henry thing, that's my whole issue with him. Devontae Adams, that's my issue with.
That's
like
why I
whenever
have it
you're gonna
right.
say these guys that are consensus number 1, they're gonna get leapfrogged.
I think
bro. That
Max
thing
is
has to be
projecting.
convincing.
He might be saying he's not, but I think
Not
he's
though.
projecting. I don't think at this juncture
Nah.
you could say Justin
Nah.
Jefferson is better than
Okay, well, here, OJ, you said that my argument isn't convincing. Let me make it again for you because I think you forgot. Honestly, I
Which
think you
one?
forgot. About Mark Andrews. I think you forgot about Mark Andrews.
Okay, because you had a couple that was
Like here's
unconvincing.
why I think he's better than Kelce. Right? You look at the coaching staff. Mark Andrews has a worse coaching staff. It's not all that worse. Like obviously you got a good coaching staff over there. But you got Andy Reid running plays over there, right? You got Patrick Mahomes who's had him for the last 4 years. 1,000 times better thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, like I said, bottom 5 in on-target throw percentage, not accurate at all. Top 5 in bad throw percentage, but he still caught 70% of his passes because he has great hands. If we're comparing traits of Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce's probably a better route runner, I would give hands to Mark Andrews. He has some insane catches.
Oh,
One of the
no.
catches, he's always making plays on the ball. Look at that play last year. There was a top 5 play via the NFL and their rankings where he caught that diving pass that came out of his hip because Lamar underthrew it by 10 yards. And you look at production for this past year: 107, 1,300, almost 1,409 touchdowns. Like, I just don't think you can sit here and look at, like, as a receiving threat with the situation of quarterback and coaching staff and say that Mark Andrews hasn't been better last year. And then when you look at blocking, which matters for tight ends, I know you don't care about it, but it matters. That's a part of the position.
As much.
But it matters, though. And he's
As
the
much.
second best blocking tight end besides George Kittle. That has to stand for something. That's the reason why they're one of the best run offenses in the NFL, why Lamar Jackson can eat as much as he does.
That's no doubt. You know, he complements what Lamar Jackson brings. His ability to block, that does mean something from a tight end, especially. This is why blocking is important for tight ends, man, because all of these play actions, you know, off-ball shit, it doesn't work if that tight end can't block. Because if I know this tight end's not a legit threat to block and he's acting like he's about to block me because he wants to slip to the back of the end zone, I'm not biting for that shit. But if that's George Kittle,
thing, bro. My thing with the blocking is this, bro, and this is why I just. Bro, what is the gap between the blocking of Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, bro? Or what are we talking about? Is this
Travis Kelce's a great blocker too? Like, we not about to act like Travis Kelce is.
We're not talking about
Mark Andrews, George Kittle, man. He ain't no Mark Andrews.
He ain't no George Kittle. He applies more effort to that, but on the offensive side of the ball,
he gets the job done, bro.
Yeah,
he gets the job done, bro. Bro, Gronk was one of the greatest blockers of all time. Cool, bro. Go out and run routes, bro. Like, I go out and like.
Blocking is important though. Like, you ever watch these guys come out in a jumbo formation and they play action on the 1 yard line, goal line. They play action to the running back, and next thing you know, you see a butt naked tight end wide open in the back of the end zone. You know why that is? Because whoever was his assignment bit for his block. They bit for his block because his assignment was to attack one of the linebackers or one of the safeties and slip. And if I know you not that guy when it come to blocking, I'm not finna bite for that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's definitely running a route. This guy don't block for shit. And he's acting like he's about to block right now? Okay. You know what I mean?
If I could just say one more thing, bro. A lot of people crap on Greg Roman and that offense and saying it's a terrible offense. Bro, it's the same offense that won Lamar Jackson the MVP, and they were thriving. I'm just going to throw that out there. But all of a sudden, it's the worst coaching staff we've ever seen.
It ain't for everybody, man. It's not for everybody. It's perfect for Lamar. But let's move on, guys. Let's move on. Let's move on.
We took too long on
that. But it was great, though. Every single season, we have this one team that jumps out of nowhere, catches everybody's attention. Like, damn, I didn't see that. Like, nobody's placing bets on these guys to start the season, right? I want to know who's going to be that team this season. A guy that comes out of nowhere and, you know, they do way better than what they did last year and maybe compete in the playoffs or whatever the case may be, whether it be a 4 or 5 win increase from the last season or just a team that nobody sees coming that has the potential that maybe pop. I want to know what you guys think that team will be this year. Who's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals? You know what I mean? Or who's going to be, you know, the team that popped and came out of nowhere? Max, who you got?
There won't be a Cincinnati Bengals where they go to the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen. But I will say this, though. I think there's a team that is way better than we think. And it's because they've been a poverty franchise over the last, 20 years, and people just don't really love them all that much, and it's the Detroit Lions. Campbell's that dude. He's leading these guys. They love him. People forgot how good Jeff Okudah was in college. He could really break out this year. Like, he really could. Jeff Okudah is somebody we got to monitor. Aiden Hutchinson was a steal at number 2. This pass rush is going to be good. You got a top 5 offensive line with Penei Sewell, who was so damn good over the last 6-7 weeks of the season. You got a healthy DeAndre Swift, DJ Shark, TJ Hawkinson, second year Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's an incredible slot receiver, super underrated. And then you get the best receiver in the draft in Jamison Williams, who's an elite route runner, probably would have ran a 4.2 40, dominated Georgia in the SEC championship game. That stop and go is disgusting to this day. And you have a weak conference, in my opinion, in the NFC, and the division is somewhat more open than it has been in the past couple years. Now, you got a lot of games that are winnable. This team could legit get 10 wins, and let me tell you who. You got the Commanders in week 2. You got the Eagles week 1. They could be some early year jutters with the Eagles. They could be it could be a Jalen Hurts just shits the bed kind of thing. I really could see it happen. I really could. I really could see it happen.
1-0. 1-1. 1-1.
Could be. You got the Vikings week 3. because they're going to play 2 games, so it could be the Vikings at home. You got the Seahawks. They could beat the Patriots. The Patriots are going to be ass this year. I'm telling you, the Patriots are not going to be good. They could legit start 4-1. Then you got easy matchups versus Miami, Chicago, the Giants, Chicago again. And then they could take a game versus the Packers or the Vikings again. And then, boom, you got 10 wins. And that's my team.
Here's my take on that. I love it. I love every bit of it, except how you ended it, right? Here's my take on that. Certain teams in the NFL, I'm not giving you shit, right? We can't just look at the Lions' schedule and say, oh, they can win that game, they can win that game. They can't win no games. I've seen this team go 0-16. I'm not giving you the benefit of any doubt. You have to prove every night. You could be on a 5-game winning streak in Detroit. And the 6th game is the Seahawks. I'm not saying, oh, they're going to win this game. No, you're going to have to show me, like people tried to project Cleveland's success because they had XYZ, and look at them. Ass. Still ass. No matter how talented that Cleveland roster is, they're always going to be ass to me. Just like Juju Smith-Schuster said, they're the Browns. I don't care. They're the Lions. So I'm not giving them any. They could beat this team. They could beat. No, they're going 0-16 until proven otherwise. Every game. It's like, that's just my opinion. But let me go before you, OJ. I got the Panthers, man. I got the Panthers. They got a little They got a little quarterback debate going on over there. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, who I think is completely Gabricio. What good quarterbacks come out of USC anyway? That's neither here nor there, right? 5-12 last season. I like the fact that they didn't give Baker the job, which I think he will win the job. They made him compete for it. I think that's going to get his juices flowing and get his competitive spirit back up and running, right? DJ Moore is the most underrated wide receiver in the league, in my opinion, right? And you couple him with Robbie Anderson. You know, they got CMC coming out of that backfield. Hopefully he's healthy. And I think that's where the consistency lies at. Can CMC stay healthy? Because I think he's going to play not only a big factor be a big factor to this offense, but I think he's going to be a big factor to whether or not Baker Mayfield is successful, right? This team, or last year, Baker Mayfield had the 6th lowest check down rate, right, in the NFL. And that ties in to me to his completion percentage, which was terrible. 60% of his passes what he completed, right? Now he's in an offense under who's the offensive coordinator? Bob McAdoo, right? Bob McAdoo is known for his West Coast offense. So short passes, get the ball in the hands of your receivers and let them work. Also, what ties into the West Coast offense is check downs. So not only will that number increase, it'll probably most likely increase his completion percentage, which will make this offense more efficient, right? So Baker Mayfield is one of the least check down Charlies in the league. As bad as he was last year, he doesn't like throwing to his running backs. Well, guess who his running back is? A guy that's on record of having 100-plus catches in I think 2 consecutive seasons, if I'm not mistaken. So not only will the offense force Baker Mayfield to check the ball down more, but he has to come, because I think checking the ball down is not only scheme related, but it's also the mentality of the quarterback. Cam Newton didn't check the ball down. You know what I mean? So not only will that, it's going to change his mindset, because CMC is going to demand that. That's who he is. So by him checking the ball down, getting the ball in the hands of his receivers, you got a lot of speedy guys, some decent route runners. You got Robbie Anderson. You got DJ Moore, like I said, who I think is the most underrated receiver in the league. Couple him up with CMC, I think Baker Mayfield's production just off that alone will increase, will make this offense better. And they're solid, defensively. They was what were they ranked defensively last year? I don't know. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
They started off hot, man, red hot defensively, and then they cooled off.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, after the Cowboys game in week 4, I think, yeah.
I could see this team being, having a 10-7 record or a 9-8 record. You know what I mean? Like coming out of nowhere. Last year they was 5-12. So, division, they got Bucks, Saints, Falcons in the division. So, fair enough. I think the Carolina Panthers can shock a lot of people next year.
I'm looking at it right now, Chris. I didn't even know that. So you put me onto this. The Panthers allowed the 2nd least yards last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Only second to the Bills, who were first by 600 yards, by the way. That's actually crazy. That's a lot of yards to be first by. But, yeah, they allowed less yards than the Niners, the Patriots, the Saints. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's what I mean. This team could sneak up on a lot of people, and then nobody's talking about them right now because of how Baker Mayfield snuck up the joint last year. But if you look at the situation he's stepping into, it's a more structured. You can say what you want about McAdoo, but as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, I think he's decent. He's good enough to put these guys where they need to be, and they got the weapons to do so. So
The situation is worse though. Like I think the weapons
you
are
think
better.
so? Oh, I mean,
But
coming from Cleveland, of course. But what about?
Yeah. I think you got a way worse coaching staff, and you go from having a top 2 offensive line to a bottom 2 offensive line. That's really hard for a quarterback.
Schematically, though, I think
Yeah, no,
Baker Mayfield wanted to see the way Stefanski and those boys ran it in Cleveland is they're run first and only throw when we have to. I don't think it's gonna be that way, and I think that affects his psyche. Like, everybody in the building knows it's 3rd and 6. I gotta throw. I kind of want to sneak up on some guy. Baker Mayfield gets hot when he's in no huddle, when he's fast-paced, when he's moving. He doesn't have to think as much. Pay attention to when those boys went to no huddle and how Baker looked. Now he's on time. He's targeting guys and putting the ball where he's supposed to be. I'm like, okay, Baker looks like a different quarterback. But when it's like run on first, run on second, pass on third, it's like, interception. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm trying to do too much because I want to show these guys that I can throw it on first down. I think in this offense, under Bob McAdoo, you got Matt Rule, Bob McAdoo running this West Coast offense, which is get the ball in the hands of your playmakers in space, let them do their thing. It's the same offense Steve Young ran, the same offense Joe Montana ran that was created by Bill Walsh, specifically because Joe Montana did not have a strong arm. So they formulated an offense that would cater to the quarterback skill set. And I think the West Coast offense caters to Baker Mayfield's skill set way better than anything Stefanski and them can draw up in Cleveland. So that's why I think just him walking into this situation, you got a 100-catch guy coming out of the backfield. Keep that in mind. With a quarterback that never checks the ball down. So and he completed 60% of his passes last year. That ties in. You know what I mean? So light work.
I don't even know where to begin, man, between the Lions and the Panthers, man. It's funny. So I guess I'll quickly give my rebuttal and then I'll go. So the Lions, not one time did Max mention Jared Goff. Not one time in that equation, bro. Not once did he mention Jared Goff. And that's my biggest issue, bro. You placed it beautifully, bro, except you forgot the most important thing, Jared Goff. Now, that being said, let's shift to the Carolina Panthers, bro. I think we both agree, all three of us agree that Baker is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. But is the gap really that big, bro? I don't know that it is, man. I don't know that the gap between Baker and Darnold is that big. As a matter of fact, if it was big, it wouldn't even be a quarterback controversy to where they're going to fight for the job. It'd be clear, right? And so Baker Mayfield has the decision-making skills of Jameis Winston without the height and without the athleticism. That's who essentially Baker Mayfield is, man. And for me, it looked no further than the quarterback. And that's like you have a lot of high hopes on Baker, bro. But history's telling you, bro, that you shouldn't. And I'm going to follow history, man. And I think Baker's going to stink up the joint. He's in a worse position. And let's be very clear about one thing. The reason the Browns were run first was not because so much their offensive line was so good in Kareem Hunt and Chubb and those guys.
That's exactly why. What do you mean?
It's because of the deficiency of Baker Mayfield. It's because of how they perceive Baker Mayfield's skill set. He's the type of guy we do not want him to have the keys to the house, bro. Let's just control that. That's what he is, bro. So now you're gonna tell Baker Mayfield to throw the ball even more? Good luck with that, bro.
But Baker Mayfield. Baker was forcing himself to push the ball down the field. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to call it a run and shoot. I don't know exactly what they ran in Cleveland, but it wasn't this. It wasn't doesn't have the potential of this. I'm saying with what we know about Baker, I think, damn the fact that you got Nick Chubb and all these weapons. I think the situation that he's involved, that he's stepping into, could be better for him. That situation that he was in was great for Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That's why Odell was glad to get the hell up out of there. That's why Jarvis Landry is gone. That's not a great situation for those guys.
That's true.
I think.
But this is where I disagree. I disagree when Baker Mayfield is being blitzed and he's going on his weak side and he should throw the ball away. I think Baker's still going to make a terrible decision. That's where you and I disagree.
Okay, the decision making. Yeah.
You think schematically they'll get him to change and to kind of change it. I think at this point, bro, leopards don't change their print, bro. And then we'll have to see what happens, bro. I don't think
we'll
that
have to see.
People have to understand. And the rebuttal to that is, oh man, look at Stafford. What happened? We went to Detroit and the Rams. That's completely different. But you're talking about probably the best offensive mind in football, bro, and Sean McVay. But anyhow, let me get to mine. This was a very difficult question to answer, and I thought a lot about it. At first, I thought about the Dolphins, but then it's like, people kind of see that coming. Tyreek Hill, they shored up their offensive lines a lot better now, so to me, it's not a surprise. And I actually, surprisingly, I went with the Denver Broncos, bro, and for one main reason, because Vegas is sleeping on them. Everybody's sleeping on them. A lot of people don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know why. I think they have a very good secondary. They have a decent defense. They have a young core. They have a decent coaching. They went 7-10. They went 7-10 last year. I think if everything goes well, those guys could win. They could win 5 more games, bro, and win 12 games and give the Chiefs a run for their money potentially to win that division, although I still think it's going to be the Chiefs. I just think for me, it's the Broncos, and mainly because for some reason, bro, people are sleeping on them so much. And I think it's because, I don't know, man. I think they're sleeping on Wilson, bro, like for whatever reason. So that's who I have. It's not the sexiest pick. I get it, bro. But this was a very difficult question, to be honest with you, man.
That's why you guys are
out here picking. Yeah, out here picking Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff.
Listen. I honestly believe that, but that's not I'm not mad at that. Definitely the acquisition of Russell Wilson single-handedly can turn around their season dramatically. We're gonna get to that though. I want to sit right there. Remember what you said though, because I got something to counter with that. But let's move on to the next segment, man. Let's play a game. Let's play a game. I don't know what to call it. Let's call it versus, right? I got one guy, one wide receiver. When I name this wide receiver, I want you guys to say if you would take the second guy that I name over him or which guy you rolling with, basically. And the guy is Mike Evans, right? So I want to know, would you guys take Mike Evans or X, right? And we going to go, no explanations, right? We just going to answer who you got. Mike Evans or Keenan Allen?
Am I going first on these?
Yep. All of them.
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. Close, though.
Mike Evans as well for me. We got Mike Evans or Terry McLaurin?
Mike Evans.
Evans. Easy.
Yeah, it's easy for me.
Yeah, give me Mike Evans. Mike Evans or DeAndre Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Oh, OJ, don't think about this one too much, bro. That's D-Hop. That's
D-Hop.
Mike Evans.
What? Oh my gosh! What?
I know why too. That's why I hesitated.
Mike Evans or Stephon Diggs?
Oh, Diggs, easy.
Stephon Diggs, not even close.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs. Mike Evans or T. Higgins?
Evans.
Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a better version of T. Higgins in every way.
Yeah, give me Mike Evans. Mike Evans or A.J. Brown?
Evans. Come on, man. Oh, hold on. Wait. A.J. Brown?
Yes.
Oh.
That's hard, bro.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
I
because,
thought you said
A.J. Brown's more talented in every way.
I'm not going to hold you, bro. I got to go Evans, bro, because of Jalen Hurts. No offense. I'm going to go Evans, bro.
Jalen Hurts going to shock the world. Watch what I tell you.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh my gosh. This is so hard because I have.
It's not hard, bro. AJ is always hurt, bro. Pick Evans.
Bro. It's hard. I'm pretty sure I have AJ and Evans as 9 and 10.
Hey, OG, don't be biased on this, bro. Now that
I think I'm gonna take Mike Evans just because of the injury stuff and inconsistency of AJ Brown. But AJ Brown's gonna be better this year, though.
Give me AJ Brown.
That's fair.
I'm taking AJ Brown. Definitely.
I wonder if we did this podcast 3 months ago if you would have taken AJ. But yeah.
Hey. Guess we'll never know. Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans.
Deebo Samuel. It's not close.
So is this a receiver or NFL player?
Receiver.
If you're saying receiver, give me Mike Evans. Receiver, give me Mike Evans. I don't care. Throw the stones, bro.
You know what, OJ? I'm with you. Give me Mike Evans. I think Deebo Samuel is one of the most overrated wide receivers in the league. I do. And I guarantee you he doesn't repeat that production this year. I do. Honestly. To me, if if I'm coming into this situation and I'm saying I see Mike Evans right there and I see Deebo Samuel, I'm not running the football. I want a wide receiver, right? Give me the red zone threat. Give me the guy that's gonna give me 1,000 yards. Give me the guy that's gonna catch 14 touchdowns, and give me this big 6'5" red zone threat. I'll take him in every situation over Deebo Samuel, except for 1st and 10 if he's behind the line of scrimmage.
And people, can I just add this too?
There's
bro?
no situation where I'm taking Deebo over Mike Evans. What situation are you taking? Situation. Let's play situational
Samuel
football.
Is not lining up wide and cooking cats like that.
No!
Let's get that out of the way. He's not lining up wide and he's cooking cats on routes. That's not what Deebo does. And no hate on him. He doesn't do that, bro. Deebo Samuel gets the ball. He motion this. Tight end blocks that. Give him the ball and let him do his magic.
Wide receiver screens. You know, the fake forward pass play that's now a pass that used to be a run. Like Deebo Samuel's he's a gadget guy.
Used to play for wasn't there a buddy that used to play for the Vikings? He went to Florida. He had a bunch of migraine.
Percy Harvin.
Percy. Yeah, man. To me, he's a much better Percy Harvin. He's bigger and more physical, more durable.
That's actually a great comparison. He's a bigger, more physical Percy Harvin.
Yeah.
But Percy Harvin was a dog in college, arguably one of the greatest to ever do it. But yeah, I'm just saying in any situation I'm taking, there's no situation where I would take Deebo Samuel over Mike Evans. And that's how I look at it. Sometimes when I'm trying to evaluate which wide receiver is better, I say, okay, what if it's 3rd and 6? Who am I going to? This guy or that guy? What if it's, 1st and goal? Am I going to this guy or that guy? If it's 1st and 10 and we're passing, am I going to it's play action? Can I trust this guy to beat this guy in man-to-man, or is it this guy? And in no situation am I taking Deebo Samuel over Mike Evans. None. That's just the way I think.
All right. You guys are tripping here. You guys are tripping hard. Like this is, I don't know what it is. I don't know what got into you guys, but like Deebo, who do you guys think had more touchdowns last year? Deebo Samuel or Mike Evans?
Probably Deebo. I were to guess.
Mike Evans was second in touchdowns last year, wasn't he? Yes, it's Mike Evans. What do you mean?
They both had 14 touchdowns last year.
They both had 14?
They both had 14.
Well, that's consistent for Mike Evans. That's a rarity for Deebo.
Sure, if you want to look over the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Of course, it's not a question.
Yeah, easily. But we said this earlier on the pod though that receivers are more flowy. It's more wishy-washy. It's more recency. It is more recent. Deebo Samuel had 400 more yards than Mike Evans last year.
That's true, but Mike Evans offense,
and that's just receiving yards, by the way. He had almost 1,000 more all-purpose yards than Mike Evans.
Mike Evans had 1,300 yards with Mike Glennon as his quarterback. I mean,
5 years ago? I don't care. You know what I mean?
Update. I get it. Update your resume. I'm with you with that. You know what I'm saying? Update your resume. But Mike Evans hasn't fallen off. Yeah, he barely scratched 1,000, but he was second in touchdowns to Cooper Kupp last year.
I don't think it's I said it's not close. I didn't mean that. I have Deebo Samuel as my 8th best receiver in football. Mike Evans is 9th, so it is close. But I think Deebo.
Deebo only had. I'm seeing that Deebo only had 6 touchdowns.
He had 6 receiving touchdowns, 8 rushing touchdowns last year.
Oh no, we talking about wide receivers, baby.
Again, we're talking wide receiver.
You want overall? Oh, the place. Max, you got hold on. We ain't talking about NFL. Hold on. Hey, I knew that shit didn't sound right.
You like that?
Hold on. He snuck that in there. He tried to sneak that in there. Look.
Look at this
Nah,
guy.
bro. 6 touchdowns. Look, we not. I'm like, man, ain't no way in hell. I'm like, when he asked the question, I'm like, let me think. Because I know Mike Evans was second in touchdowns. So Cooper Kupp is the only one that had more touchdowns than Mike Evans last year. Then he said, they had the same. I'm like, damn, Deebo had 14 touchdowns?
Yeah, 14 touchdowns.
No, he didn't. He had 6.
Yes,
he had 6. These is wide receivers we're mentioning.
There were 14 times that he was in the end zone with the ball in his hands.
Man. Yeah, half of them was rushing.
Over half.
Hey, okay. I guess it is what it is. Look, last but not least, DK Metcalf. Mike Evans, DK Metcalf.
Mike Evans is not even close. Don't even anybody that says DK here is an idiot.
Yeah, give me Mike Evans. Definitely give me Mike Evans. But I love me some DK Metcalf though. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect. He's one of the most up in the air wide receivers in the league to me. I don't know what to expect from him in this up and coming season. He could pop off with Drew Lock, or he could be 800 yards, 63 catches. I don't know. But let's finalize this show with some Super Bowl predictions, man. Who do you guys have? Very, very, very early Super Bowl predictions before the season even started. So you can go back and say, hey, on the Sports Behavior Podcast, I said this team was going to make it. You want proof? It's on YouTube. Look, I called it. Give me your very early Super Bowl predictions for the 2022 season. I'll go first, since I never go first on these topics. I'll go first, right? To touch on what OJ said, I have the Denver Broncos representing the AFC in the Super Bowl this year.
That is bold.
I have the Denver Broncos representing the AFC. Now, I know we got a lot of teams, but if I look at the Denver Broncos, defensively, they're stout. You know, Patrick Surtain, Ronald Darby, Simmons, you got Kareem Jackson. You got a plethora of defensive players that are Bradley Chubb. You got a hellacious defense. I think Denver was number 1 in the league, number 2 in the league in defense last year. From
they have one of the best secondaries
from
too,
a yards
right?
per game. Right. Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson and Ronald Darby and Patrick Surtain. Like, that secondary is nasty. Bradley Chubb, blitzing, it's nasty. Solid offensive line. You got Williams and Gordon. You know what this team reminds me of? The 2012 Denver Broncos. They were one missing piece away from being extreme contenders, and that was a quarterback. I'm not saying Russell Wilson is Peyton Manning, but what I am saying is I like what they got. Cortland Sutton is a dog. Jerry Jeudy, dog.
Yes,
like, let's not mistake that.
Yes.
Let's
Jerry
not-
Judy's him.
Dog. Let's not mistake that.
Bama.
This is what I'm saying. Like, and they have everything they need, not only on the defensive side of the ball, but on the offensive side of the ball. What are they missing? They were missing a quarterback. Williams is a stud coming out of that backfield. I don't know how the split share is going to be between him and Gordon. Williams and Gordon as a tandem is arguably a top 3 tandem in the league if Gordon is who he was last year. The efficiency Gordon put on last year, I think Gordon had over 1,000 yards in that offense as the second guy. Like, this team is extremely scary. And this, you know what I mean? Like, this, I could see this team losing the division, but getting into the playoffs and just wreaking havoc when they get there, having a historical run in the playoffs and just making it to the Super Bowl. Not saying that they're going to win, but they can make it. And then for the NFC,
It's
I got
crazy. Nobody else sees that, bro. They're flying under the
They're not as
radar.
smart as me, OJ. That's why. And then when it happens, they say, yeah, nah, bro. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for the NFC, I got the Bucks. What's on this little need to be explained. They added Julio Jones. Julio Jones is about to be the slot for the Bucks. I mean,
So I'll go second. I'll go AFC first. And I'll be honest with you, bro. It's boring. I have the Chiefs, bro. And I'm going to pick the Chiefs out of default every year, bro. It's Patrick Mahomes. I don't have to explain it, bro. Yeah, I could go the Bills. A lot of people are going to go the Bills.
Yeah.
Give me the Chiefs, bro. There's not much there. I'm very torn in the NFC, bro. Very torn. I'm going with the Rams, and for one reason. I really want to go with the Bucks, bro. The Bucks, a lot of people are not talking about, and you wouldn't know that unless you're a Bucks fan, all the offseason moves they made to shore that secondary, bro. They've made a lot of great moves, bro. But for me, I have to see that in fruition, bro. I have to see it work. Once I see that secondary is fixed and it works, then yeah, give me the Bucks over the Rams. But until then, bro, because of the Rams defense, bro, and they're a more complete team, I have to go with the Rams. But right now, bro, the Bucks and Julio, bro, you got to think Mike Evans gets hurt and Godwin's going to miss like 5 games. You have all of the Falcons ex-players. I mean, you still have Scotty Miller. We're great on receiving, bro. Our receiving room is great. And yeah, Ryan Jensen did get hurt, but we're going to miss him more from an emotional standpoint than an X's and O's. We could replace him, man. Like, Brady's great. We'll be fine. So, but I'm going with the Rams, but I might change my mind, bro, by the time, after a couple preseason games. So we'll see.
I like both those. I want to touch on what you said, Chris, before I give mine with that Jerry Jeudy comment. Here's what Jerry Jeudy is. And I wanted to you tell me who this reminds you of, Chris, and OJ, you can chime in too. Who does this remind you of? A 6 foot, right around 6'1", 200-pound receiver that has drop issues and injury issues, but all the talent in the world. Who does that remind you of?
drop issues.
And an elite route runner with an elite release. Who does that remind you of? I'll give you a hint. They broke out in 2018.
The drop issues throwing
Drop
me off.
issues and injury issues.
and they are an elite route runner, 6'1", right around there, 200 pounds, receiver. Elite release, elite route running. Only thing they had going wrong for them was drop issues and injury issues for the first couple
Not
of years.
AJ Brown.
Nah,
He's
No,
like
he's
a-
legit 6'3".
they broke out in 2018.
Broke out in 2018. Who?
Devontae Adams.
Oh,
Devontae
Devontae Adams had 10 touchdowns in 2017. What are you talking about?
No, Devontae Adams broke out in 2018. You're thinking of the 2018 season.
No, in 2017 he had 10 touchdowns. He had double-digit touchdowns the year before he had that 1,300 yard.
Before his 1,300-yard season.
Right.
That was the year he had like 70 receptions for like 800 yards though. It was a good touchdown season, but it wasn't like a huge breakout though. It wasn't a huge breakout. But the issues with Devontae Adams before he broke out though were injuries and drop issues. Those were the big things that he was struggling with. But elite route runner, elite athlete, elite release. Nobody could guard him. Same thing goes for Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
Highest yards per separation per route run. Easiest schedule versus DBs this entire year in the entire NFL. And he's healthy with Russell Wilson. I think Jerry Jeudy's the next Devontae Adams. I have a video coming out on that today.
Ooh.
That's the point. Let's get to my Super Bowl prediction.
That's bold.
In the AFC chip, I got the 1 seed Chargers versus the 2 seed the Bengals. Okay, I think the Chargers are going to go 13-4. I think Justin Herbert throws for the most passing yards in NFL history this season. The Chargers take that. I think it makes sense in terms of a talent production and roster production or perspective, and I think the NFL will do everything they can to get a Justin Herbert versus Joe Burrow AFC championship. That would be insane for ratings. Because all the debate would end right there. All of it would end right there.
I'm surprised you have the Bengals at the 2 seed. That's shocking to me.
They're gonna be incredible. The roster's better than it was last year. NFC chip. Rams versus the Bucks. I go back and forth on this all the time. There's no other teams in the NFC that will even compete with these two. They're so much better than everybody else, which is just the truth. I think the Rams win though. I really do think the Rams win. I think they took a hit at offensive line with Whitworth leaving. They took a hit at D line with Von Miller obviously leaving. But I think. What
do you think gives the Rams the edge? If I can ask you, over the Bucks.
It's hard though. It's hard. I think losing Ryan Jensen kind of offsets the Rams losing Whitworth, and I think the rosters are like really similar. Like you got two really good.
Jensen will be back in probably like 6 weeks though.
Okay, I thought
he's coming back. No? I thought he tore his ACL.
Did he tear his ACL?
That's not what I heard.
Oh really?
Yeah,
maybe he'll come back then.
Right.
I think this NFC game is really close.
I thought he was gone.
I think this NFC game is really close. But here's my bottom line: Tom Brady, unguardable. You can't fuck with the GOAT. That's the GOAT. But you also can't fuck with Cooper Kupp, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, and Matthew Stafford's up there. So I think just the star power is just too much, man. I think it's just too much for the Rams to handle.
I'm not mad at that, man. I'm not like it. To me, the NFC is just really it's legit 3 teams. Like, and the third team, really, can you even say they're really contenders in the Green Bay Packers? But to add this, though, me and my boys the other day was speaking on MVPs and whatnot, and we gave our three people we thought could be MVP this year. And I forget the other 2, but I named. But the number 1 guy that I had was Aaron Rodgers, because I feel like, I feel like he could be he'll be the second guy in league history to win 3 in a row behind Brett Favre. Not only that, but I think the NFL is gonna push an agenda of him without Tay Adams. And what's Rodgers without Tay Adams? Phenomenal still. I don't know why people are second guessing whether or not he's still gonna be productive. Now, the defense, bar none, will probably be a top 10, top 8-ish defense in the league. They have the best 1-2 punch at corner, in my opinion, in the entire NFL. With Stokes and Alexander.
Stokes is really good, man.
Really, he's the most underrated defensive player in the league. I think he's next up. You know what I mean?
Him or Brian Burns. Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying. So when you look at everything from the Packers' perspective and how they may not win as many, Aaron Rodgers last year, he's going to probably come out here again this year with an extra game. He doesn't miss games. He's probably going to throw for 4,800 yards, maybe 35, 36, 37 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And everybody's going to be like, oh, shit, how can you turn that down? And they're going to win 14 games. And it's like, Devontae who? Watch what I tell you. Christian Watson and Alan Lazard will be fine. They
You know
will
what's crazy
be fine.
too is they lose Zadarius Smith and people are sleeping. They got Devontae Wyatt from Georgia. They got Quay Walker from Georgia.
Yeah.
The best college defense of all time. You get 2 key pieces there.
Yep.
You pick up.
We
pick
got
up
the best
Christian
piece though,
Watson.
but yeah, they got 2 key pieces.
Yeah, no. Jordan Davis is him.
Transfer
But,
to
I'm
the
talking about
Eagles?
Nakobe Dean.
oh, Nakobe Dean's him too.
Oh.
I was so damn mad that you guys took him 1 pick before us in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
I wanted him so bad. I'm a Steelers fan if you don't know. But
Mhm.
nah, I was so damn mad that he fell that far. But besides the point. Now I also didn't say who I think wins. I think the Rams go back to back. I think Herbert will get there, but I think I don't. You just can't. Cup is him. Ramsey's gonna
I
lock
don't know
up
who's gonna win.
either Mike Williams. But I think the Chargers Rams would be such a good game though.
Shit. Broncos.
Look at that-
Bucks?
look at that.
I don't know.
Look at that Chargers roster though. Like you got.
Yeah,
you
that's
got
the
Khalil Mack.
if anybody tells you the Chargers going to the Super Bowl, that's a very easy prediction. Because I think
Yeah, it
I
is.
think they have a great chance to go. If Herbert is him, I think they have a legit like they should be the favorites.
They have the best team in the league. bro.
My
That's why
God.
Not
they're
even close. It's not
Top
even close.
to
And you know what's
bottom.
crazy too is Brandon Staley came out and said in an interview after the season ended, he was like, "Yeah, I did so much stupid shit going on all those 4th downs. I'm gonna make some adjustments and not do that next year and trust our kicker." So I think a lot of those like stupid losses they shouldn't have aren't gonna go that way. I think you have Justin Herbert in year 3 MVP season coming in. You still got Derwin James. You got Asante Samuel Jr. You got J.C. Jackson now. Now you got Khalil Mack. You got You got Joey Bosa. You have it's like the roster is so stacked.
unreal, bro.
Yes, dude. And you know who's really underrated, who's gonna be a good receiver this year that nobody's talking about is Joshua Palmer. Just come back to this one, Joshua Palmer and Gerald Everett. Last year, Pete Carroll said that Gerald Everett was the most athletic tight end he's ever seen. Now he's on the Chargers
Yeah,
with Justin Herbert.
people are sleeping on Everett, bro. Big time. I can see it coming, man.
Yeah, that's
And I think Mike Williams is gonna have a crazy year, man. I think
agree.
Mike Williams is gonna legitimately be like, okay, like the #1 guy. I think it's like
I
people
agree,
still
I
go back
was
and
just
vote him.
about to say
He's
that.
gonna
I
take
think
off,
this is
bro.
the year Mike Williams says, "Look, Keenan, it's my time."
My
No,
time.
he's 27 years old. He's primed for a breakout. I have Mike Williams going for 85 for 1,212 this year.
Yeah.
That's literally a top 10 season. I think if he
Yeah,
does that, he's
no doubt.
he's a top 15 receiver in the NFL. Maybe even top.
And if
10.
he does that and Keenan Allen ain't as productive as him, does he bump himself out of the top 10, top 12 consideration?
Oh yeah, 100%. I
So-
think Keenan Allen's already fringe, not top 12 anymore. People don't like him for some reason. He's
Yeah,
underrated as hell.
yeah.
But nah.
But that was a great episode, man. I enjoyed both of you guys coming on, man. We had a great conversation, some great debate, some great talk. Everybody that joined the chat, I appreciate you. Dubs, if you enjoyed yourself, man. If you didn't catch it, if you came in halfway through, it will be on YouTube, sportsbehavior.com or YouTube/sportsbehavior.com. So be on the lookout for that. That is Max from Fantasy Football AZ. That is my main man, OJ Knows. Anything y'all want to say before we get on up out of here?
Just
Thanks for
appreciate you
having me, man.
on.
It's been a pleasure as usual. So yeah.
Most
Yeah, just
definitely.
appreciate you having me on. It was fun to talk some ball with two dudes who know their stuff.
Yes, sir. We're going to do this again, man. These two guys ain't going nowhere, man. We're going to do this again, man. I appreciate everybody, man, for joining in. And what's up, y'all? OG the Beast here, and I appreciate you tapping into the Sports Behavior Podcast. If you made it this far, I greatly appreciate you. But if you want to stay connected with me, go ahead and drop me a follow on each and every one of these socials. And that's how you stay locked in, man. I appreciate y'all stopping in. We talk football. We talk basketball here. And once again, you are greatly appreciated for stopping by. OG out.